truly could not take it anymore. Just as he was about to drop the broom and find a place to take cover, out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of his senior duty monk not far away. His body instantly froze, recalling the experience of being punished to copy the Diamond Sutra the last time he slacked off. He could not help but shiver. It seemed he could not escape this ordeal. Wang Shui held the Rujiamo in both hands, eating while pondering the words of the fortune-teller, Master Qin. She looked back and forth. Which way exactly was east? Was it up as north, down as south, left as west, right as east? Wang Shui pondered in her mind for a while, and finally gave up trying to find the direction herself. She wiped the grease stains off her hands, opened the map app on her phone, spun around, and finally discovered that east happened to be the direction back to her school. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. If she gained nothing from this trip, at least heading straight back would not waste too much time. After swallowing the last bite of the bun, Wang Shui licked her lips, still craving more. Truly worthy of a bun that sells for $50 each. Mind-blowingly delicious, absolutely unreal. Next, she looked at the packaged Rujiamo she was carrying. Should I just... No, at this hour, Ahao is probably not even awake yet. He definitely has not had breakfast. I will save this bun for him to eat later. Walking back to school would take over half an hour. Carrying the Rujiamo, she began walking, following the navigation's audio prompts. Honestly, where exactly was this opportunity the master spoke of? She was getting so tired. After walking for over 10 minutes, Wang Shui finished off a bottle of mineral water. After looking around, her gaze shifted to the Rujiamo she was carrying. Forget it. Even if I carry this Rujiamo back to school, whether Ahao will even see me is still an unknown. Besides, the bun won't taste good once it is cold. After a moment's hesitation, Wang Shui opened the bag of the Rujiamo and took a bite. Just as she reached a corner, a kid riding a scooter suddenly sped past her. Wang Shui was startled, and instinctively dodged to the side. Unexpectedly, her foot slipped, and she instantly lost her balance, tumbling sideways. Just as she thought she was going to fall embarrassingly to the ground, she unexpectedly fell into a warm embrace. I am sorry, Wang Shui said instinctively. However, the moment she looked up, she met an incredibly familiar face. Ahao, it is actually you. What a surprise, this was way too surprising. To actually run into her boyfriend here. Could this be the coincidental opportunity the master spoke of? The master truly lives up to his title, he really knows his stuff. Compared to Wang Shui's irrepressible joy, Luo Hao, seeing it was her, instantly turned cold. As long as you are fine. I am leaving. After saying that, he walked forward without looking back. Wang Shui knew she had genuinely angered Luo Hao this time. She hurriedly trotted after him like a little tail. Ahao, I was wrong, please do not be mad anymore. She softened her voice, her eyes full of pleading. Seeing Luo Hao not stopping, keeping a cold face and staying silent, Wang Shui had no choice but to run around to his front, and spread her arms to block him. It was my fault. I should not have thrown a tantrum for no reason. Just forgive me this once, please. Wang Shui was so anxious she was almost crying. Luo Hao's nose twitched slightly. The young couple, who were originally in a Cold War, were now standing in close proximity. Wang Shui had just eaten the Rujiamo, and the aroma of the meat filling still lingered in her mouth. As she slightly opened her mouth, her breath, which was usually described as orchid-like, now instantly filled the space between them with a rich meat aroma. They say scent of a woman tells all. And right now, Luo Hao was experiencing this profoundly, just like how after eating skewers, On's whole body smells like hot pot spices. At this moment he felt Wang Shui's breath was not only intensely rich and mellow, but also incredibly multi-layered. Star anise, cinnamon, cloves. Countless spices came rushing at him. With every breath, he could perceive the distinct top, middle, and base notes. It was absolutely intoxicating. In an instant, Luo Hao was so tempted by this aroma that his drool almost dripped down. Smells so good. Wang Shui heard it crystal clear, and her heart instantly pounded like a drum. Smells good, hee, I knew you would forgive me. Watching his head leaning closer and closer, Wang Shui instinctively closed her eyes. Luo Hao was instantly dumbfounded. That is not what I meant at all. This smells good is not that kind of smells good. Rather than saying you smell good, it is more like the bun smells good. Do not overthink it, I am purely here for the bun. Baby, let us make up then. We will never fight again. Wang Shui froze, her eyes instantly reddening. Luo Hao nodded in deep agreement. No fighting, nothing else mattered right now. He just wanted to quickly eat this Rujiamo. It was seriously way too fragrant. Baby, what did you just eat? Luo Hao's voice was gentle, carrying a hint of curiosity, even though he could tell it was a bun. This was the first time he would ever encountered Owen smelling this incredible. Hearing this, Wang Shui finally realized that she had just finished eating the rujiamo. Wang Shui's voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzz, as she embarrassedly tugged gently at the corner of Luo Hao's shirt. Rujiamo. Then great, let us hurry and go buy some more. Luo Hao's eyes lit up instantly. He impatiently grabbed Wang Shui's hand and started running toward the nearby snack street. Wait, I did not buy it here. That place is really far from here. I still have half of Own left in my hand. If you do not mind, you can find a clean spot on it to eat. Before Wang Shui could even finish speaking, she saw Luo Hao let go of her hand entirely, grab the rujiamo, and start gnawing on it fiercely. His cheeks were bulging, and his face was a picture of pure enjoyment. Wang Shui simply could not believe her eyes. They had been together for so long, and Hao had never eaten her leftovers before. Why was he just directly biting into it now? Meanwhile, quite a few people had gathered around my rujiamo stall. The tourists quite consciously started forming a line. This place was not as spacious as the park entrance, and they could not line up all the way onto the road. This made things miserable for the auntie selling steamed buns next to me. Her tricycle was completely blocked off. Hey you people, do not block my steamed bun stall. My meat buns are very fragrant too. Buy some and give it a try. After the auntie spoke, afraid everyone would not believe her, she acted like she was presenting a treasure, pulling out a meat bun from her steaming bamboo steamer and showing it to everyone. Hearing this, quite a few people turned their heads to look. Who knows if it was the cheapest frozen bun bought wholesale. This meat bun had thick dough, barely any filling, and the meat inside was just a rock-hard lump. The crowd was completely speechless. They had seen people boast about their own products before, but they had never seen someone actively invite humiliation like this. Just look at it yourself. What kind of good meat could that possibly be made of? Who would dare to buy it? Then look at the meat inside the rujiamo. That color, that aroma, can you even compare? The tourists shared a tacit understanding and tacitly remained silent. Many passers-by were drawn over, thinking the temple was giving out free porridge. When they ran up to the stall and saw what it was, they could not help but ask, "Bro, is there some sort of promotion for this rujiamo? Why are you guys lining up so long?" "No promotion. $50 each." My review is, this rujiamo is incredible. At this price point, the fact that I am buying a second own is already the best proof. The person asking was also sharp. He knew that the most delicious food often receives the most unpretentious reviews. Just from that own piece of profanity, he could already guess how delicious it was. "Thanks, bro, then I'm going to line up too." By 11:00 a.m., I had sold out all own 100 rujiamos, and returned to Yuhu Jinyuan. Being able to sell out $50 rujiamos in just 3 short hours also exceeded my expectations. Most of these people were repeat customers. They bought own, tasted it, and immediately bought more. Things produced by the system are truly premium. At 2:30 p.m. at Xingming Park, many regular customers were looking anxiously toward the street. What is going on? Look at the time, why has not the boss arrived yet? Do not worry, he should be here soon. With the traffic these days, the boss might just be stuck at some random intersection, stressing out. Could the boss have partied too hard last night and overslept today? As time quietly ticked by, the customers at the park entrance, like iron shavings drawn to a magnet, gathered in larger and larger numbers. What is happening? Why has not the boss shown up yet? Could it be that the boss had something come up last minute and is not coming today? No way. I specifically hired several proxies to line up for me today. If he does not come, won't I take a huge loss? Does anyone have the boss's contact info? Meanwhile, I was standing at the kindergarten entrance, waiting to pick up Nuonuo after school. My tall, upright posture drew quite a few looks. "Daddy," a crisp voice called out. A tiny figure ran out joyfully. Seeing Nuonuo holding a little red flower high in one hand, and an exquisite fan in the other, I smiled, crouched down, and pulled her into a big hug. "Daddy, look at my fan, I even won an award." Nuonuo excitedly waved the fan in her hand, her little face glowing with immense pride. My daughter really does have some artistic talent. Smiling, I picked Nuonuo up and planted a loud kiss on her cheek. "Baby is so amazing. Daddy knew you were the best. In a little bit, Daddy will reward you with a super delicious rujiamo." Nuonuo tilted her little head. "Rujiamo? Are there no pig trotters today? Having eaten kindergarten food all day, she was currently craving pig trotters. I stroked Nuonuo's hair. Do not worry. Tonight we will eat Rugiamo. Tomorrow we will have a pig trotter hot pot, okay? Nuonuo nodded happily. As long as daddy makes it, Nuonuo loves it. Benefactor, please give this poor monk 2 Rugiamos. Just the buns. How much for own? Hearing this, I was slightly stunned. Only then did I see the person's attire clearly, so it was a master. I had never sold them like this before either. If someone came to buy a wife cake and only wanted the wife but not the cake, what was I supposed to do? Thinking this, I had no choice but to refuse. Master, my buns and cumin beef are perfectly portioned here. If I sell the buns, I won't be able to sell the meat. 2 young men in the line behind heard this and quickly stepped forward. Boss, just sell the Rugiamos to the master. Pack the meat and buns separately, I will buy the meat. The 2 of them were just thinking the meat portion was not enough. To think this kind of pie-in-the-sky luck would actually fall right into their laps. On second thought, that actually made perfect sense, so I immediately replied, alright. The flaky buns are brushed with lard, so the monk can't eat them. Soon from the side, I took out 2 ready-made baiji buns, packed them up, and handed them to Hui Kong. Thank you, benefactor. Hui Kong took the buns, bowed again, pressed his hands together, and offered a solemn salute. Seeing this, I hurriedly bowed in return. Then I packed the 2 portions of cumin beef separately and handed them to the young man. The young man and monk Hui Kong discussed for a moment, and together they paid $100. The little novice monk, following his example, also bought 2 buns. Having lined up for a long time, it was now exactly mealtime. Monk Hui Kong and the little novice monk walked with hurried steps, rushing together toward the dining hall. Halfway there, they suddenly saw the abbot walking toward them. The abbot's gaze was instantly drawn to the brown packaging bags in their hands. Printed conspicuously on them in bright red letters were the words, Rugiamo. The abbot's face instantly changed color. In broad daylight, you do not even bother trying to hide it anymore. It seems I need to strictly enforce the temple's disciplines. Abbot, please listen to my sophistry. Listen to my explanation. Monk Hui Kong immediately reacted, urgently speaking up to explain. We only bought white buns. He clumsily pulled out the baiji buns to show the abbot. The little novice monk beside him also nodded repeatedly. Yes, abbot, we have always strictly obeyed the temple rules, and would not dare violate them in the slightest. Hearing this, the abbot gently stroked his chest with his hand, suppressing the shock he had just received. You all must cultivate yourselves well and not break the precepts. The abbot was about to turn and leave, but a faint aroma drifted over in the wind. Leaning in closer, the baiji bun molecules were wildly engaging in Brownian motion, diffusing straight into the abbot's nasal cavity. The abbot could not help but slowly close his eyes, feeling the gentle caress of the breeze and the swaying of wheat stalks. In that instant, a sense of peace, of living in harmonious coexistence with all things, surged in his heart. The smell of these buns is incredibly rustic and pure. I wonder where you purchased them. The abbot stood in place, hesitated for a moment, but ultimately spoke up. To answer the abbot, it is right at the temple entrance. We lined up for ages. Hearing this, the abbot nodded slightly, a trace of anticipation revealing itself in his eyes. He figured this rustic flavor of the mortal realm must definitely be different from the vegetarian meals in the temple. This old monk would not mind having a taste. You 2 blockheads did not even think to buy own for this old monk. Hui Kong, Jingwu, can the 2 of you really eat that much? Abbot, please do not worry. This disciple and junior brother Jingwu will definitely finish them, absolutely no waste. Though these buns are large, they are no match for the hunger in your disciples' bellies. Besides, your disciples will naturally cherish the food and live up to the abbot's teachings. Seeing these 2 monks remaining completely oblivious, the abbot's face gradually darkened. Never mind, never mind. Go on. Try to be a bit sharper in the future. Hurry up and put those bags away, and go have your meal properly in the dining hall. The monks in the dining hall all stopped eating and swallowed their saliva. Senior brother Hui Kong, how do these baiji buns taste? Hui Kong swallowed a bite of the bun, pressed his hands together, and said slowly, this bun is crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, and overflowing with wheat fragrance. Upon entering the mouth, the flavor is like the light of Buddha shining everywhere, warming the heart and soul. It is truly a delicacy of the mortal realm. The little novice monk also nodded vigorously in agreement. Senior brother speaks the utmost truth. This baiji bun is chewy when bitten and smooth when swallowed. Every bite brings joy to the heart. Junior brother, let me have a bite. Just own bite, I am begging you. Seeing this, several close senior brothers hurried over, all wanting to have a taste. Hui Kong's mouth twitched, and he immediately refused. These are the buns we lined up for ages to buy. If you want to eat them, go buy them yourselves. The two of us do not even have enough for ourselves. Why would we give them to you? In a flash, many monks dashed straight out of the dining hall and headed to the temple entrance. Taking own look, the food cart was gone, and the Ruggiamo buns were gone too. Their hearts, full of anticipation, fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. They could only wait to buy them tomorrow. Meanwhile, I returned home, collapsed leisurely onto the sofa, and happily scrolled through short videos. I did not have much to do for the whole afternoon. It was the perfect time to relax properly, so I played a couple of rounds of games. I stood up and stretched my arms and legs. My gaze inadvertently swept across the floor to ceiling windows, only to realize the glass was actually covered in a thin layer of dust. I then cast my gaze around the entire house, and frowned slightly. It is actually a bit messy. These past few days, I had to drag myself out of bed at the crack of dawn to knead dough, and prepare the ingredients for setting up the stall. I also had to pick up and drop off my daughter at school. After all that rushing around, if I had to clean the house on top of that, would not I exhaust myself like a dog? No, I still need to hire some professionals. Thinking this, I picked up my phone, and called the property management butler. A few minutes later, the property butler showed up at my door with several cleaning aunties. Such high efficiency surprised me for a moment, but I quickly calmed down. This was not like the old apartment complex I used to live in. With a property management fee of $100,000 a year, how could the service not be thorough? Bro, give us the bottom line. Where exactly are you going today? 3 roommates, like 3 guardian door gods, firmly blocked the doorway, refusing to let Luo Hao leave. Yeah, if you do not explain clearly today, there is absolutely no way we are letting you go. You actually have Goddess Huang's class this morning, and you are skipping it. This is way too suspicious. Something's wrong, something's very wrong. Luo Hao stood there, looking utterly helpless. Ever since he ate that Ruggiamo with his girlfriend Wang Shui over the weekend, he had been constantly obsessing over it. He did not get to eat it yesterday, holding it in for a whole day, and went straight into Ruggiamo withdrawal symptoms. Luo Hao thought for a moment and finally spoke. There is a Ruggiamo stall over by Fuse Temple that is insanely delicious. I just wanted to go buy some today to satisfy my craving. Hearing this, the group was stunned for a second, and then shoved him. Cut the crap, you actually have the nerve to try and fool us with that. What kind of delicacy requires you to rush off so desperately to buy it? What, are you abandoning our campus cuisine to throw yourself into the embrace of off-campus street food? The big 3 of the cafeteria, mapo tofu with strawberries, scrambled eggs with oranges, and stir-fried watermelon rind with mooncakes. They feel very hurt right now. Luo Hao shook his head. These days, nobody believes you when you tell the truth. It was truly absurd. I am not joking, I am really going to buy Ruggiamo. I am telling you guys, that flavor is absolutely god tier. Seeing him speak with such genuine sincerity, the group finally somewhat believed him. They made Luo Hao promise to help them, to bring back own Ruggiamo for each of them before they would let him go. Meanwhile, after loading the braised beef onto the cart, I was ready to head out. With the master broth, braising these things took no effort at all. I just needed to keep an eye on the heat. Good morning, Mr. Su, have a safe trip. The security guard at the villa gate straightened his back, looking at the departing food cart, and spoke respectfully. These past few days, word had spread through the entire security team that a newly moved-in boss Su drove a food cart out every day, allegedly to set up a street stall. It was truly unbelievable. After all, in a luxury villa community filled with high-end sports cars, a food cart was incredibly out of place. If I had known the food business made this much money, I would not be a security guard. Who would have thought a mobile street vendor could afford a $10 million villa? I left Yuhu Jinyuan and dropped Nuonyuo off at kindergarten. Daddy, come pick me up early, remember to bring a Ruggiamo. Nuonyuo, wearing her little backpack and cute twin tails, looked at me with reluctance to part. "'Kay, Daddy will bring you on. Hurry up and go inside like a good girl." Watching my precious daughter enter her classroom, I finally set off toward Fuse Temple. Young boss, what an incredibly fragrant braised smell. Is the Laji meat making a comeback today? Master Chin snapped back to reality, impatiently craning his neck to peer into the pot. No, today I am making braised beef and beef tripe. I smiled and shook my head, taking out the whiteboard and writing, beef and beef tripe Ruggiamo, 50 yuan each. The aroma overflowed in all directions. The faces of the foodies were completely written with fanaticism and craving. "Boss, pack 5 of each flavor for me to take home." 2 customers in a row made the exact same request. Hearing this, I could not help but look up, secretly astonished. I had barely set up, and I instantly sold 20 of them. These people's buying habits were getting crazier and crazier. Hearing this, many regular customers immediately jumped out. "You guys in front are buying 10 at a time, how is this fair? They will probably be sold out before more than a few people get their turn." "Yeah, we have been waiting for ages. If we can't buy any, that is not fair at all." "Boss, set a purchase limit quickly. Otherwise they will be gone in a second, and we would have come for nothing today." Seeing everyone throwing a pity party, I nodded, picked up the marker, and continued writing at the bottom of the whiteboard. "Limit 2 per person." With a limit, at least there was a guaranteed minimum, so people would not come for nothing. Luo Hao, who was lined up in the middle of the queue, was playing on his phone out of boredom. Suddenly, he heard a commotion from the front. After catching the key information, he felt like he had been hit with 10,000 points of critical damage. "Oh crap, they are targeting me, a limit of 2. His adopted sons alone needed 3, how was this enough?" Whatever, saving himself was the most important priority. At the temple entrance, 2 little monks saw my food cart get into position, exchanged a glance, and immediately took action. One of them, looking delighted, ran to the back of the line first to start waiting. The other ran back into the temple to summon reinforcements. Soon, at the Vermilion Temple gates, a group of monks surged out in an orderly yet urgent manner, and swiftly got in line. Oh no, why are the monks all lining up? Good heavens, did they jump the wall to get out? So many monks showing up all at once. The crowd in line instantly exploded in an uproar. "Who understands my pain, fam?" Hearing this commotion, I simply did not know whether to laugh or cry. With the monks coming out in such a massive procession, would not they be punished by the abbot? Just as I was thinking this, sure enough, a monk with a white beard wearing a kasaya walked out with a stern face. "You lot, what kind of behavior is this? Acting so foolishly and causing the world to speak ill of us." The monks in line, both embarrassed and craving the food, looked at him, then at each other, and then dejectedly ran back into the temple. "We played too big, we alarmed the abbot, run." Before long, it was Luo Hao's turn. "Boss, own of each flavor." "Just mildly spicy is fine." I nodded, took out a large piece of braised beef and sliced it. The quality of the beef was top tier. With every cut, you could feel the firmness and elasticity of the meat. Then I mixed in a small spoonful of chili, garnished it over the richly colored braised beef, and stuffed it into the baiji bun. In an instant, the braised aroma and the meat fragrance unapologetically swirled all around Luo Hao. Luo Hao was so intoxicated by the smell that his mouth practically took a dive, smashing right into the rujiamo. Oh man, I swear I was not the one who initiated this. Since things had already come to this, it would be impolite not to eat it. When he finished the rujiamo in his hand, he looked at the other one. He had previously promised to bring it for his roommates. If he went back empty-handed, he would probably be beaten to death alive. Tomorrow was the last day of selling rujiamo outside the temple gates. So, I decided to make the final flavor, crawfish rujiamo. A couple of days ago, I had accidentally glimpsed this flavor on the system menu. I originally wanted to make it to eat that very day, but thinking about how much of a hassle processing crawfish was, I temporarily shelved the idea. After picking Nuonuo up and bringing her home, I summoned the crawfish from the system. These crawfish were wild caught from the vast, natural waters of Hongze Lake. Not only was each crawfish large and long, but their bellies were pristine white, the tamale was sweet, and the meat was tender and delicious. Looking at this batch of premium goods, I simply could not resist the itch. I peeled the shells and removed the veins from over 10 caddies of crawfish owned by own. This process alone took me a full 4 hours. I stretched my stiff joints and prepared to reward myself by making some garlic crawfish to taste. First, I flash fried the crawfish in oil. For the garlic, instead of smashing it, I minced it with a knife to reduce the loss of garlic juice, preventing it from becoming bitter and astringent when heated. I heated oil in the wok, tossed in minced Thai chilies, ginger, and half of the minced garlic, and stir-fried. The minced garlic gradually sautéed into a brilliant, dazzling golden yellow in the wok, releasing an intensely rich garlic aroma. Next, the crawfish went into the wok for a quick stir-fry. The fresh umami of the crawfish and the aroma of the garlic fused into just sniff, and my soul practically floated halfway to heaven. Nuonuo, who was watching TV in the living room, kept twitching her nose. Wow, it smells so good. Over these past few days, she had become battle-hardened. having developed a certain level of immunity to the smell of braised meat. But she simply could not withstand me changing flavors. She hurriedly went pitter-patter and ran to the kitchen. At the kitchen door, the aroma was even richer. A scent of beer paired with garlic crawfish hit her face. Smelling it was even more intoxicating. I put the lid on the wok, turned the heat to medium-low, and continued to simmer. Turning my head around, I finally noticed the tiny figure at the kitchen door. Daddy, the poor little crawfish babies. Nuonuo pointed at the pile of crawfish heads in the basin, her little face full of pity. I smiled and was just about to speak, when the little girl's gaze shifted to the bright red crawfish in the wok, and she could not help but swallow her drool. So pitiful but so yummy. The next morning at 7:30 am. In the teacher's office at South City University, Mr. Zheng, here is yesterday's attendance sheet. As she spoke, Counselor Zheng Wei took the form from Mr. Wang's hands. Her gaze rapidly swept over it. Luo Hao Chenning. Those 4 students skipped class again, and all 4 of them are from the exact same dorm room. After Professor Wang headed to the teaching building, Counselor Zheng Wei closely followed behind. She wanted to see for herself if these guys were skipping class again today. Meanwhile, in South Zone Dorm 508, Bro Hao, hurry up, the boss is going to sell out soon. The teacher did roll call again today, and the counselor is there too. No one dares to answer for us. The few of them discussed it and reached a highly unified consensus. Hurry out and line up. If they were late, it would all be gone. They swiftly scanned a shared bike and started pedaling out. Zheng Wei happened to walk by, caught sight of their retreating backs, and her curiosity instantly piqued. What are these little brats doing so early in the morning? I used to think they just could not wake up this early. But looking at this now, there is definitely a hidden motive. Without overthinking it, Zheng Wei decisively scanned a bike and followed them. Over 10 minutes later, Luo Hao and his 3 roommates arrived at the usual spot. After parking their bikes, they sprinted toward Fuse Temple. Zheng Wei trailed them the whole way. Being a South City local, she naturally knew about Fuse Temple. But what were Luo Hao and the others coming here for? Were they praying for romance, praying to get rich, praying to pass their exams? She could not figure it out. She simply could not figure it out, watching the 4 of them arrive at the temple entrance, then turn around and sprint toward the back of a line of people. Zheng Wei was instantly stunned. What is going on here? Just as she was puzzled, a food cart slowly drove up. The crowd instantly erupted in cheers. Zheng Wei finally realized what was happening. Wait, so they were in such a frantic, desperate rush, just for a bite to eat. But the street stalls outside are just made of scraps, and they are unsanitary. How good could they possibly be? Zheng Wei took a few steps forward, ready to drag Luo Hao and the others back to school. Unexpectedly, a monk wearing a monastic robe also got in line at the very back. Immediately after, a few more monks popped out of the temple gates to line up. No, I am not blind, am I? For a moment, Zheng Wei froze in place once again. Who knows what kind of massive shock Zheng Wei's worldview took in those few short seconds. As soon as I parked the cart, I updated the menu on the small whiteboard. The price was still $50 each. Seeing a new flavor, the foodies all looked pleasantly surprised. Wow, crawfish Reggiano. What kind of god-tier combination is this? Boss, hurry up and give me 2. I want to be the first to taste it. Crawfish can be eaten like this. This simply redefines the pinnacle of Reggiano. This idea is incredible. Crawfish Reggiano. Let us go. I did not expect the crawfish flavor I made to receive such unanimous, enthusiastic pursuit from everyone. But thinking about it, it was not surprising. With the unique, fresh, and tender texture of crawfish, it tastes amazing no matter how it is cooked. The customer at the very front of the line, after getting his 2 crawfish Reggiamos, literally could not wait a single second longer. Holding the Reggiano, he stood right in front of the stall and started digging in. The pungent garlic aroma, carrying a faint scent of beer, instantly hooked everyone's appetite. Aiming at the crawfish, he took a huge bite. The aroma of the thick garlic sauce coated on the shell burst forth. As his teeth gently bit into the shrimp body, the plump, firm meat instantly popped out of its shell. The garlic aroma had long thoroughly seeped into every fiber of the shrimp meat. So satisfying, it is too delicious. Everyone listen to me, I am not wrong. This garlic crawfish is truly unreal. As soon as he said this, the foodies erupted into discussion. When the voices reached Zheng Wei's ears, she felt a bit perplexed. Garlic crawfish. Why would anyone be interested in something like this sold at a street stall? Let alone these unsanitary little stalls. Even at those high-end buffets and private kitchens, are not a lot of them just frozen shrimp? When you eat them, the texture is totally mushy, soft and flabby. What is so good about that? Zheng Wei steadied her nerves, ready to grab those 4 truant students and leave. But before she took 2 steps, her eyes were firmly locked onto the crawfish Ruggiamo in a customer's hand. Her mouth subconsciously parted slightly, and she almost started drooling. I just had a red cabbage and fried egg sandwich this morning. My calories are definitely met for the day. And what time is it? I am definitely not hungry. But right now, Zheng Wei was just like that, staring intently at the Ruggiamo in someone else's hand. Her brain, however, was very cooperative at this moment. After sensing a brief system crash from its host, it simply controlled her limbs and walked her straight to the back of the line. Before long, Luo Hao and his 3 roommates, their faces brimming with joy, holding their fragrant Ruggiamos, came walking from the front, chatting and laughing. Zheng Wei's heart instantly leaped into her throat. Why do I feel an inexplicable sense of guilt? As the figures of her students drew closer and closer, she grew increasingly nervous. In the split second they brushed past each other, Zheng Wei turned slightly and swiftly looked the other way. Phew, that was close. Thank goodness she was not recognized. As the saying goes, before the mission succeeds, the general falters first. Wanted to catch the students, but ended up joining their ranks. It was Zheng Wei's first time doing something like this, and it was truly way too embarrassing. By the time she neared the front of the line, Zheng Wei's eyes lit up. Not only was the stall owner handsome, but the hygiene conditions of the food cart were impeccable. With own glance, everything was completely spotless, without a single trace of grime. Alright, now I feel at ease. At least I do not have to worry about hygiene issues. As she got closer to the front, the aroma continuously tickled her nose, drilling straight into her heart. It is strange. This is a garlic smell, but it does not trigger any feeling of repulsion in me at all. This is no ordinary garlic. This is the garlic from a Wang Wei poem. Soon, it was finally her turn. She could not help but swallow her overflowing drool. Boss, give me 2 crawfish flavors. I nodded, swiftly packed them up and handed them over. Zheng Wei held the crawfish Ruggiamo, walked to the side and took a bite. Instantly, it was a mouthful of rich wheat fragrance. It was actually more fragrant than the German rye whole wheat bread she usually ate. It was obviously completely different from the taste of pre-made food. After chewing a few times, her mouth watered profusely. For a moment, she actually felt this garlic flavor was strangely fragrant. How is this a street stall? I am afraid even 5-star restaurants would find it hard to match this. The customer behind Zheng Wei in line, seeing it was finally his turn, hurriedly spoke up, "Boss, I want 2 crawfish flavors too." I waved my hand and said regretfully, "I am sorry, they are already sold out. I only have Laji Ruggiamo left." My God, it is gone. The few young folks behind instantly exploded like firecrackers. "Boss, you can't just leave us to die. We cannot live without crawfish Ruggiamo. Just like the West cannot lose Jerusalem. Just like the gaming zone cannot lose insert name here. It is over, it is over, I have not even tasted it yet. No, my crawfish, please do not leave me." They screamed and wailed, then clutched their hot Laji Ruggiamos, and wept tears of enjoyment. 40 minutes later, many customers who did not get to buy the new flavor crowded around. "Boss, I did not get the crawfish, will you have it tomorrow?" I smiled and started packing up the stall. "No more, I won't be making it ever again." The few people were instantly dumbfounded, but completely failed to realize my actual meaning. No way, crawfish has become an out-of-print Ruggiamo. Great, just great, I was one step too late. Mother of God, are you playing a joke on me? I'll let it all be destroyed. I am begging you, boss, please make some more. I will even bring my own ingredients if I have to. They clung to the food cart, howling and crying like ghosts and wolves. So unlucky, I will never get to eat the crawfish flavor again. Several customers who did not get to buy it, seeing I was about to leave, simply got red-eyed with desperation. Their hands acted like octopus tentacles, clinging tightly to my food cart, refusing to let go. My mouth twitched, but I was not about to let them do whatever they wanted. I decisively stepped on the gas, and with a whoosh, drove the food cart away. After all, I had just said I would not be making it ever again. So, the customers acting this crazy seemed somewhat understandable. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the own week stall task. Reward, a Mercedes-Benz G-Class SUV. The vehicle has been parked in the host's villa parking garage. All relevant documents and insurance have been processed. Please check and receive them. I was lying on the sofa. Hearing the notification, my eyes instantly lit up. When kindergarten let out, the crowd surged. Driving the food cart over every time was indeed full of inconveniences. Once, a parent even smelled the drifting braised aroma and asked if I had any pig trotters left to sell. I had originally planned to go buy a car another day. Who knew Bro System would be so considerate? I stood up from the sofa, pulled open the drawer, grabbed the car keys, and headed straight for the basement. The villa's basement came with 3 complimentary parking spaces. Next to the food cart I usually parked there, a massive black SUV stood quietly, looking steady and majestic. Very good, I like it a lot. Now, I just hope that when the new weekly task refreshed at midnight, it would not be something too outrageous. The system task has refreshed. The stall task for this week is from Monday to Sunday. Sell 200 portions of stir-fried pork intestines daily at 10:00 p.m. When I took a second look at the stall location, I almost spat out the water I had just drunk. The stall location for this task is the City Specialized Hospital. I had passed by this hospital before, so I still had some impression of it. The foot traffic there was passable. After all, these days, people are either sitting in offices for long periods, or simply unable to control their mouths, loving to eat all those spicy and irritating foods. With all that tossing and turning, of course illnesses would easily come knocking at the door. But setting up a stall at 10:00 p.m. at a hospital entrance to sell stir-fried pork intestines. Seriously. The system is getting more and more mischievous. However, what is worth celebrating is that the usually dog-like great system actually gave me 2 days off this time, finally acting like a decent human. On Saturday morning, I took Nuonuo to the zoo. The little Own followed beside me, looking everywhere, taking in a full view of everything that flew in the sky, crawled on the ground, and swam in the water. She pet the alpacas, fed the giraffes, and rode a baby elephant. In the end, she actually started craving the bamboo in the giant panda's mouth. Meanwhile, at the entrance of Fuse Temple, the crowd waited and waited, all the way until 10:30 am. The originally orderly line had long since devolved into chaos. A young man near the front kept checking the time, muttering, "Why is not he here yet? Has not it always been 8:00 am? How long have we been waiting? Could something have happened?" Suddenly, someone in the crowd slapped their thigh and cried out in shock. "My God, could it be that we misunderstood yesterday? The boss did not mean he would not make the crawfish flavor anymore. He meant he is not coming back at all." The entire crowd was instantly dumbfounded. He is actually not doing it anymore. If the boss does not set up his stall, what am I supposed to eat? My partner at home just got addicted to it. If I can't buy a Ruggiamo today, I am afraid I won't even be allowed back in the house. Forget it, let us just go back. Sigh, waited for nothing. Many people had specifically saved their stomach space just to eat the Ruggiamo. How could they not feel regret right now? Soon, they accepted reality and turned away dejectedly. Insert BGM here, snowflakes drifting, north wind howling. On my end, it was a scene of pure joy. After leaving the zoo, the two of us went to the museum together. After touring all kinds of ancient artifacts, fossils, and animal/plant specimens, and walking for a whole day, Nuonuo lay limply on my back, her little arms loosely draped around my neck. It was obvious she was exhausted. I turned my head slightly and asked gently, "Nuonuo, did you have fun today?" "Fun? Being with Daddy is always fun." Hearing the little girl's voice filled with heavy drowsiness, yet brimming with joy, warmed my heart. The next day, Nuonuo acted like a little lazy bug and did not want to go out, so I stayed home and played with building blocks with her. I had been busy setting up the stall recently, so it was rare to enjoy some parent-child time. Additionally, the nannies I had asked the property butler to help find earlier were all in position. Since I did not have time to manage the house while going out to set up the stall, it was better to have some help. The next day, after dropping Nuonuo off at kindergarten, I returned to the villa. At this hour, the butler and the 2 nannies had all arrived on time. The 2 nannies were cleaning the house, while Butler Ding was pruning branches in the yard. Seeing me return, the 3 of them hurriedly greeted me. Then they followed me into the kitchen. Inside a massive basin, coiled strip after strip of pink, greasy pork intestines. I had summoned these from the system before they came to work. These pork intestines had all undergone strict cooling and acid discharge treatments, so their fishy smell was extremely minimal. The system had meticulously removed the fattiest head section and the rear section of the small intestines, leaving only the most essential middle section. I turned and instructed the 3 of them, "Put on some gloves and help out. The workload is quite heavy." With a few people crowded in the kitchen, it was a bit hard to move around, so I had them carry the large basin containing the pork intestines to the kitchen's backyard to process them. In front of each person was a basin of clean water and an empty basin. Whether pork intestines taste good or not naturally relies heavily on how they are cleaned and processed. However, with ingredients produced by the system, such problems simply did not exist. Skipping a step, the group directly started turning the intestines inside out. First, they used chopsticks to run some water through the intestines. Although there was quite a bit of fat inside, there was no need to trim it all off. After all, a proper amount of fat makes the texture of the intestines even more wonderful. After dealing with the fat, the official cleaning phase began. Adding salt, strong liquor, and flour, they repeatedly rubbed and scrubbed them. Over an hour later, all these pork intestines were completely processed. They were fresh, smooth, moist to the touch, and even carried a slight feeling of slickness. The subsequent blanching was simple. The strips of intestines were put into a pot of cold water. I added ginger slices, scallion segments, and high-proof white liquor, boiled them for over half an hour, and scooped them out. Taking advantage of the blanching time, the nannies prepared the rest of the ingredients: onions, scallions, ginger, garlic, and other seasonings, setting them all aside. Everything was ready, just waiting to open the stall tonight. At 10:00 p.m., at the entrance of the city specialized hospital, pork intestines, freshly stir-fried on the spot, clean and hygienic stir-fried pork intestines. I stood by the food cart and started hawking. "Sir, come try a portion, hey, do not rush off." Under the dim streetlights, the wind quietly swept through the street, kicking up a few fallen leaves, but not a single person stopped for me. The surrounding street stall owners were all guarding their own stalls, casting weird glances at my arrival. Is this young man here to pull a prank? Selling pork intestines at a hospital? Is that even okay? TSK, what an absolute weirdo. Are these pork intestines authentic? They could not have been smuggled out from inside the hospital, could they? Feeling so many eyes staring at me, I felt a wave of discomfort in my heart. The task was to sell 200 portions of stir-fried pork intestines. Yet right now, half an hour had passed, and the progress was still zero. Maybe I should stir-fry a small portion first as a sample. If it does not sell, I will just leave it on the stove to keep warm. When someone comes to ask, I can let them have a taste. Said and done, I directly cut a section of pork intestine. I lit the fire, heated the oil, and tossed in ginger and garlic to release their aroma. For stir-fried pork intestines, the oil temperature is actually quite crucial. If the oil temperature is too low, a large amount of moisture in the intestines will be lost, and the texture will become soft and mushy, lacking crispness. If the oil temperature is too high, the surface of the intestines will instantly burn, while the inside remains undercooked. At this moment, the oil temperature in the wok was at 50–60% heat, just perfect. Sizzle. The moment the intestines were tossed into the oil wok, the oil level rose slightly. Small bubbles rapidly swelled up and popped with a crackle. When the surface of the intestines changed from pinkish white to pale yellow, the aroma also rose along with it. As dark soy sauce and other coloring seasonings were added in, the aroma was stimulated to become even more enticing. At this moment, a figure slowly walked out of the hospital entrance. This young woman was wearing a hat, a face mask, and even sporting a pair of sunglasses late at night. You could say she was fully armed. As I poured the onions and dried chilies into the wok, the capsaicin in the dried chilies was fully released. It was both pungent and fragrant, absolutely full of soul. After a couple of tosses, the inherent aroma of the intestines themselves was stimulated even further. It was a unique, savory meat fragrance, carrying a certain richness and depth. Smelling this aroma, the young woman, unsurprisingly, felt hungry. "Smells good, oh my God, it smells so good." Ever since she rushed to the hospital for the emergency room 2 hours ago, she still had not had a bite to eat. The woman's nose twitched frantically, sniffing hard in several directions. Finally, she locked onto a location. The closer she walked in that direction, the richer the aroma became. When she arrived right in front of my food cart, the woman froze. Stir-fried pork intestines. The woman still could not resist and silently swallowed her drool. "Boss, how much for this? Give me a portion." 50 a portion. Own portion is about half a gene. After saying that, with a skillful flick of the wok, I plated the stir-fried pork intestines. Hearing my words, the young woman nodded slightly. Stir-fried pork intestines at $100 a gene. Among cooked deli meats, that really was not considered expensive. Besides, this plate of intestines right in front of her was nothing like other places, where there is a frightening amount of chili but barely any pieces of intestine. These bright red dried chilies did not steal the show at all. That color, that texture, Just looking at it, the woman felt these intestines must be chewy and bouncy, let alone actually eating them. However, just as she was immersed in this beautiful vision, suddenly, a certain part of her body seemed to start aching faintly. As a hardcore chili lover, the doctor had just specifically warned her to avoid spicy food. But right now, looking at the intestines, that smooth, that tender, that plump and savory fat, the irritability in the woman's heart was like a roaring tsunami, instantly drowning her pitiful bit of rationality. Without a trace, I looked at the woman in front of me, who was wrapped up quite tightly, looking extremely hesitant. I could not help but speak up. How about you try a piece first? If you think it is good, then buy it. After all, this was the first person to actively come over and ask for the price. And she did not leave after asking. Naturally, I had to seize this opportunity. After speaking, I picked up a bamboo skewer, skewered a glossy piece of pork intestine, and handed it over. The woman ultimately could not hold out. With tears in her eyes, she took the intestine from my hand and put it into her mouth. First, she felt the slightly charred and crispy outer skin of the intestine, and the fatty part instantly melted in her mouth. As she chewed to the end, a wave of spiciness surged from the tip of her tongue. It was like a crazy roller coaster, taking a rapid plunge right at its highest peak. It finished with a fiery, spicy kick, leaving a lingering, endless aftertaste. Oh my God. My pores are totally opening up. This is so incredibly satisfying. At this moment, pork intestines were her absolute king. Boss, give me 2 portions. Her voice came from behind the mask, carrying a hint of urgency and embarrassment. Thank goodness she was wearing a mask and fully armed. Otherwise, this would have been way too humiliating. I had long since grown accustomed to scenes like this. I just smiled calmly, then remembered something and added, "Do you want this fatty kind, or the original flavor?" The woman was a bit confused hearing this. A few seconds later, she finally reacted and said, "Then give me own original flavor and own plain flavor." 10 minutes later, the young woman took the 2 portions of stir-fried pork intestines, and devoured own portion in a single breath. However, as for the dried chilies inside, she did not eat a single own. She packed up the rest and left. 5 minutes passed. Wang Chen, carrying a large bag of fruit, dragged his exhausted body to the entrance of the city's specialized hospital. He had originally agreed to visit his hospitalized brother right after work. Who knew that right at quitting time, his boss would assign him another urgent task. Right now, he had not even had time to eat dinner. At this moment, a gentle breeze quietly brushed past. At first sniff, it was a slightly greasy yet incredibly rich and mellow scent. It was domineeringly fragrant, remarkably bold and confident. It forcibly brought his hurried footsteps to a halt. Wang Chen stopped in his tracks, looked up, and could not help but widen his eyes. Stir-fried pork intestines. Who in their right mind would sell this at the entrance of a specialized hospital? Wang Chen looked at the enticingly colored stir-fried pork intestines at the stall. Although he was puzzled, he ultimately spoke up. It was just that his tone carried a hint of caution. "Boss, are these stir-fried pork intestines of yours fresh?" Seeing this, I hurriedly answered, "Fresh, absolutely guaranteed fresh. These intestines of mine just arrived today. Made fresh on the spot, handsome, you can taste it first before buying." Hearing my words, Wang Chen's doubts eased slightly, and he decided to try it first. He picked up a bamboo skewer, took a piece of intestine, and put it in his mouth. Instantly, his pupils dilated slightly. It is so fragrant it makes your soul leave your body. Wang Chen bought a portion of stir-fried pork intestines, and conveniently ordered a bowl of porridge from the stall next door. Carrying these items, he walked quickly toward the hospital room. "Bro, have some porridge." Wang Chen brought the porridge to the bedside, looking full of worry. Wang Shen took it and took a sip. A trace of vitality finally revealed itself in his eyes. "It is still my little brother who is the best. This porridge warms the stomach and the heart. When your bro gets discharged, I will definitely get you that 5090 graphics card you have been dreaming of." Seeing his brother's condition, Wang Chen felt relieved. He opened the stir-fried pork intestines on the side. As soon as the food box was opened, a domineering, hot and spicy aroma of pork intestines instantly drifted out. "You little brat, what are you eating? It smells so incredibly good." Smelling this aroma, Wang Shen could not help but exclaim. The porridge he just got instantly lost its appeal. "Bro, stop shouting, these are pork intestines, you can't eat them. Plus, there is so much chili in it, the super spicy kind." While they were bickering, the aroma instantly drifted to the neighboring hospital beds. A few family members who smelled it instantly asked Wang Chen where this came from. A few minutes later, a group of family members teamed up and headed straight for my stall, terrified that if they were a step too late, it would be sold out. I was selling stir-fried pork intestines at the hospital entrance, and I nearly made the husky at the barbecue stall next door cry from craving. Just now, seeing so many people suddenly crowd around the food cart, I was overjoyed. I did a rough mental count. A total of 24 portions. This was great, 35 plus 24 portions. The task progress had surged by another huge chunk. The stir-fried pork intestines came in 2 flavors. Original with a slight natural scent and non-original cleaned completely of any scent. To ensure the best texture, I could only stir-fry a maximum of 3 plates per batch. I tossed the intestines into the wok and stir-fried them fiercely over high heat. Instantly, hot oil splattered. Onions, dried chilies, and minced garlic were added in sequence. The fat was rendered out by the high heat, releasing a captivating, rich meat aroma. The fragrance was like a surging tide, wave after wave battering the customers' olfactory defenses. They gathered around my stall, rubbing their hands together in anticipation, waiting for the boss to plate the food. Meanwhile, at the barbecue stall not far away, the atmosphere was also filled with lively, bustling energy. Wang Bin and a few close friends were sitting around the stall, laughing and chatting, holding a sizzling, greasy skewer in one hand and a beer in the other. Right in the middle of having a great time, Wang Bin suddenly felt an emptiness by his feet. It felt like something was missing. He was stunned for a second, dazedly chewing the half piece of meat in his mouth. Then he violently slapped his thigh. "Where's my dog? Guys, quickly help me look. Where did my rebellious son go?" His dog was already a handful to begin with, and even a little bit derpy. On a pitch-black, windy night like this, if it ran off and got lost, what was he going to do? Wang Bin quickly threw down the skewer in his hand, casually set down the beer bottle, and frantically searched the area. After shouting a few times with no response, he instantly panicked. Where could Wang Kai have run off to? He could not have been snatched, could he? Wang Bin's heart filled with even more terror. His mind involuntarily conjured up images of his dog being turned into a dog meat hot pot. Just as he was about to cry from anxiety, he suddenly heard a howl. This long wolf-like howl sounded incredibly derpy and silly, to the point where any owner walking it would feel embarrassed. Just from hearing it, he knew it was definitely his own silly dog. Following the sound, Wang Bin hurriedly ran over. He saw his silly dog sitting right at the edge of a crowd of people, tongue hanging out, grinning a wide, goofy smile. Phew, thank goodness he was not lost. He walked up to the dog, so tired he rested his hands on his knees, panting heavily. "Wang Kai, let us go, we are going back." Seeing its owner arrive, the husky showed none of the excitement of pouncing back into his arms. It did not even give him a single glance. It stayed firmly glued to the ground, absolutely motionless. Wang Bin found it both infuriating and funny. He reached out and lightly smacked the dog on the head. "Stop acting up, run off blindly again, and see how I deal with you." But the dog's main personality trait was stubbornness and unruliness. All 4 paws were dead set on the ground, refusing to move even half a step. Its eyes remained fixedly staring straight at my stall. The customers present were deeply moved by the dog's pitiful appearance. Own by own, they could not help but say, "This dog is so well behaved. Do not be mean to it, it might just be hungry." Hearing this, Wang Bin's face instantly darkened. Good heavens, this rebellious son was actually putting on an act outside. He had just seen clearly that there were still several meat skewers thrown on the ground for it to eat. How could it possibly be hungry? This husky was very sharp. It seemed to understand that the current tide of public opinion was heavily in its favor. So, its mouth very obediently started dripping drool. Seeing this standoff between man and dog, the customers could not help but cover their mouths and snicker. This actually made Wang Bin feel a bit embarrassed. He had no choice but to forcefully suppress his anger. He sent a message to his friends telling them to eat first. He then walked up to the stall. "Boss, give me a portion of stir-fried intestines for this rebellious son to eat. Put less chili, and just make it the original flavor." Hearing this, the husky knew it had won. It happily trotted over and followed him. I was currently packing the intestines for the customers. Seeing this dog's tail wagging frantically like it was in second gear, with its tail fur almost flying into the wok, I found it quite amusing. Nice, very nice, now I am even doing cross-species business. Do not rush, I still have 2 sample pieces of intestine here. Let this little guy have a taste. As I spoke, I flicked my wrist, tossing a beautiful parabola. Seeing this, the husky's eyes lit up. It directly leaped up and steadily caught the intestine right in its mouth. Then, its doggy eyes sparkled brightly, and its tail wagged so hard it looked like it wanted to launch into orbit. Looking at his silly dog acting so pathetically desperate for food, Wang Bin could not help but roll his eyes. But for some reason, he himself started feeling a bit of a craving too. He had to admit, a dog's nose really is sharp. These stir-fried pork intestines really did smell incredibly good. Wang Bin sniffed, swallowed his drool and said, "Boss, give me another portion, make it spicy." Many patients' family members who got their stir-fried intestines did not leave either. The smell was too strong. Bringing it inside would only torture the patients. Fortunately, the area was spacious enough. I brought out some tables and stools from the food cart. Everyone sat around together, eating, chatting, and conveniently playing with the dog. This dog was big and tall, with clean, soft fur. As long as someone was willing to pick a piece of intestine from their bowl to feed it, it instantly put on an incredibly endearing look. Lying obediently on the ground, Wang Bin's mouth twitched, simply unable to bear looking at it. Was this still that lawless, tyrant-like living ancestor he had at home? A few minutes later, Wang Bin took the two heavy, piping hot portions of intestines from my hands. He tugged at his silly big son and said, "Why, let us go, your uncles are still waiting for your dad to drink." Who could have expected that the husky would just plop down and play dead, its eyes still staring intently at the intestines in the customer's hands? Without a doubt, this was the classic eating from the bowl while staring at the pot. Even though own box of intestines was clearly already its own, the husky was still reluctant to leave just like that. It was still hoping to sell its doggy cuteness a bit longer, to scam a few more pieces of intestine before leaving this food paradise. Seeing this scene, the crowd laughed even louder. Has this dog gained human intelligence? It even knows how to please everyone in exchange for food. Wang Bin also shook his head helplessly. He was truly left with no temper by this silly dog. He opened the food box, picked up a piece of intestine with his chopsticks, and put it in his mouth. With own bite, his pupils experienced a literal earthquake. This boss really has some serious skills. He is quite adept at using flavors to conquer flavors. To actually take the intensely strong-smelling pork intestines and season them to be this vibrant and aromatic. The stir-fried surface of the intestine was charred and crispy, making a crunching sound when bitten into. Yet the inside was plump, tender, and incredibly smooth. They say that with pork intestines, true mastery is seen in the finer details. In this box of intestines, the unappealing foul odor had almost entirely vanished. Good dog, my silly big son actually knows his stuff. Why am I suddenly finding it more and more pleasing to the eye? Truly worthy of the good big son I raised single-handedly. Holding the wok handle, I gave it a sharp upward flick, and the intestine pieces leaped into the air with the tossing motion. These plump, rich golden nuggets danced joyfully in the wok, making it hard for anyone not to be tempted. Boss, give me 4 more portions of stir-fried pork intestines. 2 original flavor and 2 non-original. Wang Bin smacked his lips as he ate. For something this good, own portion was definitely not enough. He had to buy more to take back and share with his friends over drinks. Meanwhile, the husky not far away had just finished a piece of intestine. It was licking its lips, hearing that its owner could not leave for a while, and that it could get a few more pieces to eat. Its 2 ears flapped excitedly. Own customer was also quite mischievous. He deliberately dangled a piece of intestine right in front of the husky, waving it aimlessly left and right. The husky's head, like a marionette, spun non-stop following the motion. The customer burst out laughing, not forgetting to pop a piece of intestine into his own mouth. "Ha boss, the intestines you stir-fry are absolutely incredible. No wonder the dog is craving them this badly. Tell me about it. I bought the non-original flavor and there is no weird smell at all. Paired with the chili and onions, the flavor is elevated even more. It is so savory and spicy, and the texture is so crisp, I can't stop after own bite. Actually, it tastes better with a little bit of that natural musky scent. Like this original flavor intestine I have here. It is fresh, spicy, crisp, and tender. It has that authentic street food soul. Boss, what time do you come here to set up your stall every day?" I tapped the edge of the wok with my spatula and responded warmly. "This week, I will be setting up at 10:00 p.m. 10:00 p.m. Then what are we supposed to eat during the day tomorrow?" Most of them were accompanying family members of patients. Besides the hospital cafeteria, there were only dingy hole-in-the-wall diners nearby. After eating these intestines, were they really going to be able to stomach anything else? "Boss, help me stir-fry 2 more portions of the non-original intestines." Tomorrow I will just heat them up in the microwave. Buy some white rice and it will be absolutely perfect. As soon as this was said, the eyes of the other foodies instantly lit up. Boss, I want one of each flavor. Stir fry 2 more non-original portions for me too. And me, I want some too. In an instant, this group of people started reordering in massive quantities. Many people nearby buying late-night snacks were also attracted over. Since so many people were lining up, the taste had to be good. Buy. As portion after portion of intestines was sold, my task progress skyrocketed. Over 10 minutes later, the man and his dog finally prepared to head back. You really do not say. Wang Bin took a close look at his silly dog. That originally fluffy fur on its head had now been styled into a slicked back pompadour. The kind that looked like it was styled with wax. It was so greasy and shiny it was actually reflecting light. Wait, so after you guys finished eating the intestines, you used my dog to wipe your hands? Returning to the barbecue stall, his few friends saw Wang Bin and immediately started winking and teasing him. Yo, where'd you go to take so long to come back? We are almost done eating. Here, Binzi, save these skewers for you. Being gone for so long, do not tell me you finally managed to strike up a conversation with some pretty girl. Wang Bin curled his lip, his face full of disdain. Did not meet any pretty girls, but I did hook up with some top-tier gourmet food. Saying that, he raised the food boxes of intestines in his hand. The back-and-forth conversation between the guys completely drained the dog's patience. The husky barked at Wang Bin, spinning in circles with anxiety. Seeing this, Wang Bin hurriedly opened a food box. He placed a separately packed portion on the ground and opened it. Inside was a full portion of original flavor intestines, non-spicy version. Sure enough, the derpy dog, the husky, swiftly leaned in. Its nose twitched and flared as it took a few deep sniffs. Then, with a look of pure intoxication, it shoved its snout right into the food box. It opened its large mouth and inhaled it all like a storm. Those sharp teeth clashed up and down, chewing the intestines with loud crunching sounds. After swallowing it down, it even grunted happily with bliss. My God, this stuff smells so good. The friends who were highly suspicious just a moment ago could not hold back any longer. Every single one of them was practically drooling. They snatched the stir-fried pork intestines right out of Wang Bin's hands, grabbed their chopsticks and started eating. Truly good stuff. You even remembered your bros when you found something this good. Wait, hold on. Do not rush. This portion is original, this one is non-original. Wang Bin considerately explained to them. The guys were stunned for a second, then quickly reacted. They pivoted their chopsticks, aiming first at the non-original ones. Pork intestines paired with a big wusa. This is the life of the gods. Come on, cheers. By 2:30 am, I had finally sold 200 portions. Having been busy all night, I was also feeling a bit hungry right now. I finished the remaining 2 portions of intestines myself, packed up my things, and closed the stall directly. Half an hour later, I arrived back at the entrance of the villa estate. This hour was the golden time for the security guards to slack off. The blinding headlights sweeping over instantly jolted them from their sweet dreams. Seeing it was an owner returning, the 2 hurriedly came out to greet me warmly. Mr. Su, welcome back. I nodded as a greeting, and drove the food cart into the neighborhood. Watching the food cart drift further and further away, a hint of pity appeared in a junior security guard's eyes. Mr. Su used to only go out to set up his stall during the day. Now he is actually grinding away all the way until the early hours of the morning. It is not easy being a rich person either. As soon as this was said, the other taller security guard snapped his head around and rolled his eyes hard. Excuse me. You are a junior security guard making a few $1,000s a month, and you are out here feeling sorry for a rich guy living in a massive villa. I had just stepped through the door when the nanny taking care of Nuonuo heard the commotion and hurriedly walked down from the 2nd floor to greet me. Seeing my exhausted state from afar, the nanny frowned in distress. Mr. Su, you're back. Nuonuo is sleeping soundly. There is a late-night snack in the kitchen, still warm. Would you like to eat something, or go take a shower and rest? I waved my hand weakly. I won't eat. Thanks for your hard work. Get some good rest now. You can come in a bit later tomorrow. With that, I headed upstairs toward the bathroom. The nanny watched my retreating back and sighed helplessly. Sigh, this young man really works so hard, setting up a stall in the middle of the night to provide for us. The next day, I slept incredibly deeply and comfortably. Maybe I was just too tired. It felt like I had fallen into a pile of cotton, and I simply could not wake up. Daddy, you big lazy bug, wake up. It is time to take me to kindergarten. Nuonuo pouted her little lips, her voice carrying an obvious tone of spoiled cuteness. It seemed this little Own was completely unaware that I had gone out to set up a stall last night. And smilingly kissed her soft, squishy cheek. Good girl, baby. Daddy is getting up right now. Are you hungry? Nuonuo reached out her little hand and gestured. A little bit hungry. Hearing this, I lovingly took her to wash up. Alright, after we wash up, we will go eat. Meanwhile, over at Fu's temple, numerous tourists were coming up to ask questions. Master, has that Ruggiamo stall at the entrance not been here these past few days? What is going on? Do you know where he went, Master? Hearing these words, Monk Hui Kong groaned inwardly. We are both outcasts at the end of the world. You guys come tell me your miseries, but as a monk, I truly have suffering I cannot speak of. I also really want to know where that delicious Ruggiamo stall went. Thinking of this, Hui Kong tried hard to suppress his twitching mouth. Benefactors, this truly stumps this young monk. I genuinely do not know. After dropping my child off, I returned to the villa as usual. By this time, Butler Ding and another nanny auntie were already on duty. Seeing me return, Butler Ding walked over holding a glass of soy milk, bowed slightly and said, Mr. Su, the ingredients you purchased have arrived. Today, when taking the ingredients from the system inventory, I directly selected the delivery to door mode. After all, there were many people in the house now. If I suddenly conjured up a massive pile of glistening white pork intestines, like I used to, people might mistakenly think I ran out in the middle of the night to rob someone's pigpen. That would be truly hard to explain. Alright, put them in the backyard to be processed. I took a sip of soy milk and gave the instruction. Although 2 people working in the kitchen would definitely be fine. Pork intestines have a strong smell, and I did not want to stink everyone out. Putting down the glass, I walked to the backyard. Besides the large intestines and some scallions, ginger, garlic, chilies, and other seasonings, there was also an extra, rather large pickle jar nearby. This was exactly the centerpiece for the stir-fried pickled pepper pork intestines I planned to make tonight. Taking advantage of Butler Ding and the nanny sitting by the basin scraping the fat off the intestines, I went back to catch some extra sleep. I slowly woke up when the sound of a few cicadas drifted in from outside the window. It was already 2:00 p.m. Mr. Su, you are awake. Lunch has been prepared for you. On the dining table were 3 dishes and own soup, with a balanced nutritional pairing. Desserts were placed on a plate nearby, and the fruits were cut into beautiful shapes with an exquisite presentation. I nodded in satisfaction, sat down, and started eating. Earlier, the butler and the others had followed my instructions and processed that large basin of pork intestines. Having people to help out now really saved me a lot of effort. Nuonuo had a ballet class today, so I left home 45 minutes later than usual. By the time I arrived, a little dumpling was already sprinting joyfully toward me from afar. Daddy, Nuonuo's voice arrived before she did. Wow, Nuonuo looks so pretty today. Absolutely the most charming little princess in the world. My eyes full of tenderness, I sighed with genuine admiration. Hearing this, Nuonuo pursed her lips and smiled. Being praised made her so happy she instantly performed an impromptu dance on the spot. She slightly raised her chin, stretched her neck, fair as jade, her posture as elegant as a noble little swan. With her chubby, fair, and tender little arms and legs, she stood on her tiptoes and spun a few circles. She looked delightfully round and adorable. I could not help but smile knowingly and clap my hands in applause. Amazing, my baby danced so wonderfully. Daddy is so proud of you. The little Own put her hands on her hips, her face brimming with pride. Daddy, I can do something even more amazing. Hearing this, I tilted my head slightly. Oh, then get in the car and tell Daddy all about it. In the car, Nuonuo sat in the child's seat in the back, babbling non-stop. And also, Daddy, I learned so many characters today. The teacher said I was super awesome. I drove the car while chatting with her with a smile. Really? Tell Daddy, what characters did you learn? Through the rearview mirror inside the car, I saw the little milk dumpling adorably pouting her lips, her little hands scratching her head. I can't remember. Hearing this, I chuckled. That must be because Nuonuo learned too many. You just can't remember them all right now. Tell Daddy when you remember them. At 9:00 p.m., I quietly slipped into Nuonuo's room. Faint moonlight peeked through the gap in the curtains, sprinkling a few traces of pale silver glow. The little dumpling was hugging her doll, sleeping soundly. Her long curled eyelashes gently covered her tightly closed eyes, and a faint, almost imperceptible smile hung on her slightly pouting lips. I gently tucked the corner of the blanket around Nuonuo, then tiptoed out of the room. With the nanny at home to keep an eye on things, I felt quite at ease. I went to the kitchen and added some cooking wine, light soy sauce, and other seasonings to the chopped segments of pork intestines. I figured that by the time I arrived at the hospital entrance, these intestines would be perfectly marinated. After getting everything ready, I headed out. Meanwhile, Wang Bin was currently nursing a massive headache. Ever since he got home, the husky had been barking at the top of its lungs non-stop. Who knows what it was trying to say? Wang Kai, stop barking, I know you are hungry, hurry up and eat this dog food. Wang Bin shouted at the husky in a pleasant tone. The husky literally spoke through its nostrils, its wise blue eyes glaring fixedly at Wang Bin. Its frantic expression carried undisguised contempt. Hey you silly dog, look at what all this is. There is freeze-dried beef, freeze-dried chicken, plus salmon and broccoli, and you actually dare to turn your nose up at it. Wang Bin patiently explained once more, pushing the dog bowl forward again. Who could have expected the furious husky to send the food bowl flying with a single swipe of its paw? Crash, the dog food instantly scattered all over the floor. You crappy little dog, believe it or not, I will beat you up. Wang Bin glared fiercely at the silly dog, shook his head helplessly, and then pulled out his phone. He sent a message to his bros group chat, going to eat pork intestines or not. As soon as the message went out, the group who had eaten the intestines together yesterday immediately responded enthusiastically. Yes, 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 I was just thinking about it. You guys are both going, count me in. Just thinking about that taste from yesterday. I can't even stop my drool. I dreamed about pork intestines last night. It smelled so good I drooled all over my pillow. Soon, everyone agreed to meet up at my stall. Wang Bin's house was not far from there, so he just decided to walk. Except, for the entire journey, the husky was dragging him along as it ran. Wang Bin was yanked so hard he was stumbling and running at the same time, even developing the illusion of not knowing if this leash should be put on him or the dog. From afar, the husky caught a whiff of that familiar pork intestine aroma. It was instantly so excited it was practically out of its mind, and with a whoosh, it accelerated. Like a wild donkey off its reins, it ran with extraordinary joy. In the blink of an eye, the man and his dog charged right up to my stall. This silly dog actually knew how to emergency brake. All four paws scraped deep marks into the ground. This was the true definition of a foot brake. The husky locked its gaze onto me again, acting like it had just seen its own biological father. Its mouth continuously let out a string of whimper sounds, looking exactly like a spoiled child acting cute as clingy as could be. Hungry, haha, you little dog are pretty cute. I was packing the food boxes, laughing so hard I was shaking. Seeing this, Wang Bin's face turned green. This silly dog truly gave it its all just for a bite to eat, so desperate. Wang Bin smelled the drifting aroma and was slightly stunned. This smell seemed somewhat different from yesterday's. His gaze swept over to the small whiteboard nearby, and a flash of joy instantly appeared in his eyes. Pickled pepper flavor. Pickled peppers were great. He loved eating pickled pepper chicken feet. Boss, give me 2 portions, own without pickled peppers. I smiled and replied, there are 2 spicy portions ahead of you. I will stir-fry yours together with them. The little dog's portion will wait for the next batch. As soon as these words fell, the husky's originally perked up ears instantly stood even straighter. Drool flowed uncontrollably. Its tail instantly became like an out-of-control broom, sweeping frantically left and right, kicking up a gust of wind. I glanced up and could not help but chuckle inwardly. You silly dog, you are practically going crazy from craving. I know you are anxious, but please do not be anxious just yet. I heated the wok, poured in the oil, and tossed in the scallions, ginger, and garlic. I reached into the crisper box and scooped out a massive spoonful of pickled peppers. This stuff is the soul of this dish. Sichuan cuisine has always emphasized layers of progressive flavor. Master-level spicy cooking specifically focuses on releasing multiple types of heat simultaneously. Urgentio for a balance of fragrance and heat, Thai chilies for high heat, and Chaotian peppers for lower fragrance but intense spice. When these chilies are mixed into the wok and flash fried, who could possibly withstand the smell? This smells so good. I have not even added the main ingredient yet. But just this spicy aroma is enough to make the gluttonous bugs in anyone's stomach riot. Boss, give me a portion too. The customers in line could not wait any longer. I nodded and started tossing in the pork intestines. The surface of the marinated pork intestines had a light brown hue. After tumbling around in the wok, they turned into a beautiful caramelized golden yellow. At this moment, the family member of the patient who was the first to buy the intestines brought a portion back to the hospital room, and was spotted by the little nurse on duty that day. That aroma made her swallow her drool repeatedly. After learning where the pork intestines could be bought, this nurse Missy immediately took action. "Sister, cover my shift for a bit, will you? I'm going to buy a late-night snack, I will be right back." The little nurse rushed out of the hospital like a whirlwind. Seeing the long line that had formed, Nurse Jung instantly fell silent. "Wait, do you people have nothing better to do in the middle of the night? All of you gathering here to line up for pork intestines? Is this even reasonable?" But for such a highly sought-after item with such an enticing aroma, she had to try it no matter what. Thinking this, Nurse Jung quickly walked to the end of the line, constantly standing on her tiptoes to peer toward the front. Half an hour later, it was finally her turn. "Boss, give me a portion of pickled pepper pork intestines, non-original flavor." Nurse Jung took the packed intestines with both hands and thanked me. Then, she hurried back toward the nurse's triage station, her face still carrying a slight flush from rushing. Her colleague covering her shift saw her and hurriedly stood up. "Jung, you're back. Nothing much happened here just now, everything is normal." Nurse Jung looked around, and seeing no one was there, she opened the food box, picked up a piece of intestine, put it in her mouth, and started chewing. So fragrant, the very next second so spicy, it actually smuggled in hidden goods. Right now, Nurse Jung looked like an old, dehydrated dog that had just escaped from the desert. Life is unpredictable. Large intestines wrapping small chilies, so spicy and so refreshing, it is simply too delicious. I went out to set up my stall and sell pork intestines as usual, but unexpectedly ran into old customers who had bought my pig trotters before. An unimaginable scene unfolded. Right now, at 1:00 a.m., the front of my stall was incredibly bustling. Under the dim, yellowish streetlights, silhouettes flickered. The old grandpa who sold porridge next to me yesterday was happily pulling his little cart toward me. He looked full of energy, showing absolutely none of the exhaustion one would expect at this hour. Normally, selling white rice porridge at the hospital entrance, his sales were passable, but there would always be quite a bit left in the second bucket. However, with this young man here yesterday, the situation was completely different. Some people even thought he was my dad, and acting on the principle of love me, love my dog, they ordered several extra bowls of porridge in own breath. The old grandpa just chuckled, adopting a policy of neither explaining nor denying. Yesterday, while Changzi was scrolling through short videos, he saw a viral pork intestine stall, and realized it was right near their cycling route. So, he and Li Ku rushed to the city hospital entrance in a whirlwind. Smells so good, that rich meat aroma mixed with sour and spicy notes drifting for miles is no joke. Could this really be a hidden gem of a snack stall? Did Mother Heaven see our sincere devotion in searching for the pig trotters, and show mercy by giving us a meal replacement? Stir-fried pickled pepper pork intestines. Original and non-original flavor, 50 a portion, half a gene per portion. The two looked at each other and burst out laughing. This boss is actually pretty interesting. Original flavor lovers are rejoicing. The two of them, full of joy and excitement, prepared to get in line at the back. Suddenly, Changzi noticed something and violently slapped his thigh. He shouted at me, who was currently tossing the wok, "You are the pig trotter stall boss, right?" Even though seeing the food cart and setup earlier had raised some doubts in his mind, he had not thought much of it. If it were not for the distinct charm radiating from my eyes and brow, he would not have dared to recognize me. After all, this place was way too far from Xingming Park. Hearing this, my wok-tossing motion abruptly froze, and my heart skipped a beat. Was it the foodies from Xingming Park? The two places were 108,000 miles apart, and they still managed to run into me here. The next second I nodded slightly. So what if I sold pig trotters before? It was a past job anyway. There was nothing to hide. At this moment, the pork intestines in the wok were done stir-frying. I smoothly plated them and handed them to the customer at the front. Seeing me nod, Changzi was instantly so excited he almost burst into tears. It really is the pig trotter boss. It is not just a beautiful hallucination before I starve to death. Without another word, Changzi slapped Li Ku on the back. Li Ku instantly gasped in pain. Just as he was about to get angry, Changzi started dancing with joy, looking almost delirious. "Great, brother, you screamed perfectly, no need to scream anymore. This really is not a dream. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Truly, plant a flower with care, and it may not bloom. Casually plant a willow, and it grows into a shade. Just taking a random stroll today, and the two of them actually ran into me. What damn good luck this was." I was stunned hearing this. Silence was my Cambridge tonight. There was still a whole line of people waiting. My gaze did not linger for too long. I hurriedly reached into the crisper box, scooped out a large spoonful of pickled peppers, and prepared to continue stir-frying. My ignorance only made them even more emotional, as if they had suffered a massive injustice. Boss, not being able to eat your pig trotters for so many days. Do you know how we survived? Yeah, we are standing right in front of you. How much do we look like our past selves to you? Do not underestimate our bond with those pig trotters. Every sentence of their tearful complaints carried thick resentment. That mournful appearance truly made listeners sad and hearers weep. The customers who were originally lining up obediently in the back now had all their attention diverted. Even a passing stray dog perked up its ears, rushing to the front lines to watch the drama unfold. Now I was truly stuck in an awkward situation. Wait, what kind of dead movement was this? Save me, everyone must die eventually. But you can't die of awkwardness. My face turned green, and I hid 2 steps back into the food cart. No bros, you two need to calm down. Sometimes, when a person is setting up a stall, they really just want to call the cops. These foodies are truly way too terrifying. Honestly, I just wanted to keep a low profile and set up my stall. Boss, do not hide. What bad intentions could we possibly have? We are just craving a bite of those pig trotters, that is all. Do you know we have been looking for you every single day? There are 326 paving stones at the entrance of Shingmeng Park, and we have stepped on every single one of them countless times. Among them, 30 one have already developed fine cracks. Otherwise, how would we survive these long, endless nights? As his words fell, I was once again rendered speechless. I'm not selling pig trotters anymore. This week at 10:00 p.m., I have switched to selling stir-fried pork intestines. I explained concisely. Hearing this, the other customers also understood what was going on. So the boss used to sell pig trotters, and now switched to selling pork intestines. They were not going to get to eat the pig trotters anyway. But you two should not delay their pork intestine progress either. Many customers quickly spoke up to assist. If you want to eat pork intestines, go line up in the back. Do not hold up the boss's business. Seeing that the customers were about to gang up on them, Xiangzi and Li Ku gradually calmed down. Of course, they were going to eat the pork intestines. The two quickly pulled out their phones and sent messages in the Pig Trotter Boss group chat. Found the Pig Trotter Boss. He is selling pork intestines at the city hospital entrance at 10:00 p.m. After sending this message, Xiangzi took a few photos, sent them to the group, and attached a location pin. Finally, he did not forget to at the group owner, Jean Dequan, the custodian of the Pig Trotter group. $600, we are rich, we struck gold. Xiangzi and Li Ku would split it half and half. How is this any different from winning the lottery? A few minutes later, both of their phones vibrated violently. At this hour, the older folks had long gone to sleep, but it definitely woke up quite a few young night owls. Bro, that is F******ing awesome, you actually managed to find him. To think I was completely devoted to his pig trotters. And the boss is out here having affairs with pork intestines, is this fair to us? What is so good about pork intestines? Can they even compare to pig trotters? He just stopped selling them just like that? Tell the boss to wait right there, I am heading overnight right now. The messages scrolled rapidly. The pig trotter army was about to rush the battlefield. 15 minutes passed, and I shouted directly. Stop lining up, I'm sold out, come back tomorrow. Xiangzi and Li Ke did not make it to the front, so they had to agree to come back tomorrow. They casually dropped a friendly reminder in the group chat. As soon as the message went out, it caused many trotter fans who were halfway there to burst into tears. The next evening at 7:20 p.m., night quietly descended. Inside the villa, however, the atmosphere was warm and cozy. Nuonuo and I were sitting on the sofa watching TV. On the coffee table in front of us sat a heart-shaped Rujiamo. Nuonuo had gotten a bit tired of Butler Ding's cooking these past few days, so she pestered me to make a special Rujiamo for her. At this moment, Nuonuo reached out her chubby little hand, pointed at the adorable heart-shaped Rujiamo, and called out in her milky voice, Daddy, help me get the bun, I want to eat. I smiled upon hearing that. Coming right up, careful it is hot. Nuonuo took it, opened her mouth wide, and took a huge bite. The bun was overflowing with wheat fragrance, so crispy it dropped crumbs everywhere. The meat was simmered to soft, tender perfection, dripping with delicious juices. After eating half of the Rujiamo, she yawned sleepily. Her big eyes were watering, but she still forced herself to stay awake, wanting to keep eating. Daddy made it so yummy, I absolutely cannot waste it. Seeing her eyes were almost completely shut, I stroked her soft hair, and asked gently, is Nuonuo sleepy? And no, not sleepy. Nuonuo tried hard to force her heavy eyelids open. Her voice carried a strong hint of drowsiness. Daddy, I am not sleepy at all. It is just my eyelids seem to be glued together. But my mouth can still eat. For a moment, I simply did not know whether to laugh or cry. You greedy little glutton. Having a mouth like yours, your body sure works hard to keep up. Nuonuo started chewing, chew, chew, chew. She chewed slower and slower, until finally she stopped moving completely. Nuonuo's eyelashes fluttered slightly. I could not help but laugh. You little tyke, your eyes have powered down, but your little mouth is actually using its remaining battery to keep going. You are fatally adorable. It would be a true shame not to record such an adorable little dumpling. So I pulled out my phone, aimed the lens at Nuonuo's tender, fair little face, and snapped several photos with a click, click, click. At 9:55 p.m., at the city hospital entrance, a chubby bro was shouting at the top of his lungs, his face red and his neck veins bulging. Which absolute idiot leaked the news on the internet? Do not you know the boss only prepares 200 portions of pork intestines a night? With so many people showing up all at once, what am I going to do if I can't get any? As the chubby bro spoke, his plump belly jiggled along. Yeah, how is this any different from an angler having their secret fishing spot leaked online? A tall, skinny guy lined up behind him also started yelling, poking his finger wildly in the air. The crowd was noisy and chaotic. Having eaten the pork intestines for 2 days straight, many foodies had specifically brought their whole squads along 3 here, for there, forming huge groups to come over. They rushed over enthusiastically, only to discover that a dense crowd was already camping out in front of the empty stall spot. Then the old foodies, own by own, started going absolutely crazy. It was only 10:00 p.m., but the aura of resentment radiating from them was actually more terrifying than a ghost. After all, the disappointment of not getting any yesterday was still a dull ache in their hearts. He is here, the boss is coming with his pork intestines. Accompanied by a series of boisterous shouts, a familiar old friend approached from afar. Everyone's gaze was locked tightly onto that food cart. Before the cart even fully stopped, a group of people swarmed forward and completely surrounded my food cart. The 4 greatest joys in life: sweet rain after a long drought, meeting an old friend in a distant land, the wedding night, and recovering something once lost. At that moment, the Trotter fans were truly way too excited. It is him, it is him, it is really him. Quick, everyone, surround him quickly. Bros, the raid has begun. I had just stepped out of the driver's seat when I was swarmed and surrounded by the mob. My whole being was in a state of utter bewilderment. They raised their voices and started wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. Boss, Pig Trotter boss, it really is you. If you dare run away again next time, I am going to lock you up and keep you by my side forever. I was being shoved back and forth, feeling like I was going to die. Wait, why are you guys acting like a bunch of Wang Baochuans who finally found Shui Pingui? I groaned inwardly, absolutely speechless to the extreme. I originally thought the 2 guys crying and howling in the early hours were just an isolated incident. I never expected the situation to evolve into this bizarre spectacle. Are those pig trotters really that addicting? Boss, is this fair to us? You were selling perfectly good pig trotters, and then you just stopped. If you start selling them again, we will forgive you. Yeah, boss. Tomorrow you must sell both pork intestines and pig trotters. Otherwise, do not blame me for kneeling right here and crying my eyes out begging you. Boss, we can carry a whole sack of pork shoulders over ourselves. Just help us braise them, it won't delay you from making big money. If that does not work, we will even bring our own pots. Seeing the foodies' complaints gradually die down, yet they still kept pestering me for pig trotters. I was literally sweating buckets. These past few weeks of setting up the stall, I had always been carefree, unconstrained, and free. Why did it suddenly feel like I was being forced to go to work? Thank you all for your love, but please, stop obsessing over it. The pig trotters really are not making a comeback. Me setting up this stall is purely for fun, it is not my career. The Trotter fans were shocked hearing this. So there really was someone out there setting up a street stall just for fun. This was truly absurd to the extreme. Boss, since the pig trotters are gone, at least give us your contact info, right? I am not like them, I won't make a fuss or cause a scene. Just notify me whenever you set up your stall in the future. Sorry, I can't give out my contact info. I mainly just go wherever the wind takes me. Where I go and what I sell all depends entirely on my mood. Everyone, let us just leave our food encounters to fate. Wow boss, you are so heartless. Swallow Yenzi, without your pig trotters, how am I supposed to live? I fell in love with a wild bird, but I have no grassland in my home. I had already explained the situation very clearly, so the crowd naturally had no reason to keep pestering me. Besides, there was still a massive line of people waiting behind the stall. At this moment, a patient's family member walked out of the hospital gate, planning to get some fresh air first and buy a portion of pork intestines later to satisfy his craving. He casually glanced outside out of boredom, only to see that in front of the familiar stall spot, there was a line stretching so long he could not even see the end of it. My God, is not that the food cart selling pork intestines? It is only 10 of the clock. Is the city under siege today or what? How did so many people show up all at once? He pulled out his phone and typed a message. Hurry, hurry, there is an insane amount of people today. If you are late, you won't get any. Those family members who were originally taking their time, planning to line up later, instantly panicked. Own by own, they all surged wildly toward the elevator lobby. In the blink of an eye, the elevators were fully loaded, letting out groans of being completely overwhelmed, while bursts of wailing echoed from inside. I am telling you, you people who ate the intestines in the early hours of the morning, can't you just skip own meal today? No way, are not you rushing to snatch them up too? How do you have the nerve to judge others? Why the double standard? I absolutely cannot skip a meal. My love for pork intestines is true love. I frowned as I looked at the crowd swarming toward the back of the line. I estimated there were over 80 people lining up. No choice, absolutely no choice. Then the pickled pepper pork intestines will be limited to 2 portions per person. Seeing the purchase limit written on the small whiteboard, the foodies almost unanimously ordered 2 portions each. After all, those who could rush over exactly on time to line up were all regular customers. Of course they knew the absolute gold tier value of these pork intestines. Everyone, please do not rush, own at a time. As I spoke, I took action, quickly arranging the marinated intestines, various seasonings, and side ingredients, in perfect order, then fired up the wok and heated the oil. Many foodies' eyes were wide and round, staring unblinkingly at the pork intestines in the wok. Their drool flowed like a waterfall falling 3,000 feet. A few minutes later, the customer at the front got his stir-fried pork intestines first. He did not choose to sit down obediently by the stall, but took a massive detour to the supermarket next door to grab some beer. As the saying goes, dismount upon smelling the aroma, park the cart upon knowing the taste. For a moment, he became the absolute center of everyone's attention. Everyone was gulping down their saliva in unison, but the Trotter fans lined up in the back felt that the scene before their eyes was simply too bizarre. They looked at that guy's smug demeanor, and a hint of disdain could not help but reveal itself in their eyes. Exaggerating, so exaggerating. It is just eating a bite of pork intestines. Is there a need to act like that? If he got to eat the pig trotters, would not he be so excited his soul would leave his body and ascend straight to immortality? Meanwhile, Nurse Jiang, carrying 2 portions of pickled pepper pork intestines, trotted all the way back to the hospital. Director Huang, Xiaodong, there is an insane amount of people buying pork intestines today, and each person is strictly limited to 2 portions. Upon hearing this, Director Huang's old face instantly dropped. No way, they set a purchase limit that quickly. Just making own trip requires waiting in line for half an hour. Looking at this situation, is it even going to be in time if I go line up now? Just earlier, he had confidently declared that he was going to treat little Jiang to a portion of pork intestines. He never expected the slap to the face to come so quickly. To think he was actually reduced to fighting for food with 2 young girls. Fate loves to play tricks. Where was he supposed to put his old face now? For a moment, Director Huang could not help but feel a surge of sorrow. Just 2 portions of pork intestines. How do you suppose we should divide them? As his words fell, Xiaotong stood to the side, glancing back and forth between Nurse Jiang and Director Huang, not daring to utter a single sound. At 1:00 a.m., Han Ling, Qiangzi, and Li Ku finally made it to the very front of the line. Boss, the 3 of us will buy 2 portions each. We all want the non-original flavor. When I handed the stir-fried pork intestines into her hands, Han Ling's eyes completely glazed over, looking at those evenly sized rings of pork intestines, paired with the bright dried chilies. It looked incredibly festive and appealing. Taking a bite, stimulated by the scallions, ginger, garlic, and chilies, the unique meat aroma of the crispy on the outside, soft on the inside pork intestines, was unleashed to its absolute fullest. Immediately after, an unexpected thought actually crossed her mind. Why does it feel like the large intestines are even more fragrant than the pig trotters? A minute ago, she was devastated. A minute later, she was beaming with joy. May I ask, where in this world is there an unforgettable old flame? There are only new loves that just are not good enough. Seeing Xiangzi and Li Ku eating with immense relish beside her, she did not need to ask or say a word. Just from that reaction, she understood perfectly. At 2:30 am, having been busy all night, I was finally about to close the stall. I stretched my limbs, picked up the portion of pickled pepper pork intestines I saved for myself, and started eating. The old grandpa selling porridge next to me was very observant. He actively brought over a bowl of steaming hot porridge. Young man, it is all thanks to you. I sold 3 whole buckets of porridge again today. I did not refuse the porridge the grandpa offered. I smiled and took it. People always say, late night alcohol, early morning porridge. But honestly, late night porridge is pretty great too. For the next 3 consecutive days, I continuously tossed the wok and stir-fried. Not only was my spatula striking the wok so hard it threw sparks, but my entire body ached, my back hurt, and I could barely lift my arms. Today was the last day of selling pork intestines. To prevent this group of people from making wasted trips like the pig trotter customers, I specifically reminded them that I would not be coming to sell pork intestines anymore. This also resulted in the fact that when I was closing up the stall, many customers clung to my car, refusing to let me leave. Boss, please do not. I just applied with the doctor to stay hospitalized for a few more days. And you are actually going to stop selling? Yeah, boss, without your pork intestines. I feel like there is no more light in my life. Boss, do you still believe in the light? Saying this, someone actually pulled out a Tiga Ultraman Sparklance. We won't be able to eat it. We will never be able to eat it again. The group of people had disappointment written all over their faces. They finally understood how the Trotter fans felt a few days ago. Was this some new style of street vending? Or was the boss just experiencing commoner life? Seeing this, the porridge-selling grandpa next to me served me a bowl of white rice porridge as usual. Young man, it is still hot. Finish eating before you go. All right, grandpa. I won't be setting up my stall here tomorrow, so prepare a bit less porridge, so you do not end up with leftovers. I took the porridge and took a sip. I have to admit, having a bowl like this after pulling an all-nighter at the stall warmed the stomach and was incredibly comforting. Young man, you are doing so well setting up your stall here, and everyone loves your food. Why are you leaving? The grandpa spoke with deep agitation, gripping my arm tightly with both hands. If others left him, he could still eat something else. But if I left him, what would happen to his business? Seeing that my mind was firmly made up, an idea suddenly sparked in the grandpa's mind. Young man, would you be willing to be my godson? The kind that receives money envelopes during holidays and festivals. Hearing this, I was instantly speechless. What on earth was going on? In the blink of an eye, running a street stall actually earned me an extra living father. Thinking I did not believe him, the old grandpa pulled out several hundred-yuan bills directly. Do not worry, it will be at least this amount. Before I could even refuse, the grandpa started firing off words like a machine gun again. Young man, if you do not want to be my godson, do you need a wife? I also have a granddaughter. She is incredibly gorgeous and a university graduate. She is just a little bit slightly lazy. I was dumbfounded and so scared I shook my head repeatedly. No, grandpa, I do not want a wife. I am not being anyone's godson, and I definitely do not want your cash. I really truly thank you, but no. After saying that, I downed the white porridge in my hand in one gulp, left $100 to pay for the porridge over the past few days, then swiftly hopped into the car and fled at top speed. I was terrified that if I walked a second slower, the grandpa would say something even more shocking. Returning home, I took a quick shower and lay on the reclining chair to rest. Before I even fell asleep, the task reward arrived. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the own week stall task. Reward, physique enhancer. Hearing this, my eyes shone brightly as I looked at the system reward. Bro, system really is my own biological brother. Stir-frying 200 portions of pork intestines every day this past week. Nearly broke my back. Sending the physique enhancer right now. You are actually quite considerate. I hurriedly took the physique enhancer out of the system inventory. Without a second word, I unscrewed the cap and downed it all in one gulp. It actually tasted pretty good, like a tiny drop of honey was added to pure milk. As for anything else, there was none of the imagined pain, not even the slightest unusual sensation. But gradually, I noticed something was different. The soreness and fatigue in my body had unknowingly vanished without a trace. Hey, not bad, it absorbed pretty fast. Just as I stretched my body and prepared to play a round of a game, I heard a ding sound. This week's task, sell a cumulative total of 800 portions of desserts. Stall location, the foot of Shisha Mountain. Dessert type is unrestricted. Stall operating hours are unrestricted. Dessert price, 50 yuan per portion. The complete guide to dessert making has been issued. My god, this is great, this is fantastic. I originally thought that passing the newbie phase meant the difficulty would ramp up. I did not expect to be let off the hook completely. With such a small task volume, is not this practically a joke? I do not have to climb the mountain, there are only 800 portions, and there is no time limit. Then I will just casually go for 2 days, and consider the rest a vacation. Bro system, besides you, who else loves me this much? I opened the navigation app on my phone, and immediately searched for Shisha Mountain. Good heavens, it was actually at the absolute outermost edge of South City. Driving there would take over 2 hours, even though it was a scenic area. Because it was too remote and the mountain was not high, generally very few people went there. The regular foot traffic was pitifully low. Someone commented under the navigation app, trash scenic spot, not fun at all, and it costs $50 for a ticket. If it were not for the community benefit event giving out free tickets, I definitely would not have come. Everyone be careful, wild animals appear in there from time to time. Make sure to cover your pockets and backpacks to prevent pickpocketing by monkeys. The scenery in the spot is nice, and there are many kinds of birds. But watch out for little snacks falling from the sky bird poop. I casually scrolled through the reviews but felt it did not matter. First, I was not paying for a ticket to be a sucker, and second, I was not climbing the mountain for the scenery. Who cares? Let us sleep first and figure it out when I wake up. I finally gave myself a proper vacation. I had absolutely no intention of setting up the stall today. Lying comfortably at home, I played games all morning, starting a joyful time of completely lying flat. In the afternoon, seeing Butler Ding go to pick up Nuonuo, I finally stretched my arms, preparing to make some desserts to test out a few flavors first. About half an hour later, the sound of the front door opening came from the living room. It was Nuonuo coming back. As soon as she entered the house, her little nose twitched. Wow, it smells so good, what yummy food do we have today? Nuonuo put her hands on her hips, deliberately pouting her little mouth high in the air. Daddy, why did not you come pick me up today? Seeing the little girl's angry, huffing appearance, I found it incredibly amusing. I immediately picked her up and walked toward the kitchen. Oh, so you have learned how to be mad at Daddy now. Daddy was making your favorite cake. It is coming out of the oven right now. So it was cake, no wonder it smells so good. Following her daddy's pointing finger, the little Own looked into the oven, her eyes full of little stars. The surface of the cakes was a beautiful, golden yellow, round, plump, and incredibly adorable. The moment the cheesecake was taken out of the oven, an intensely rich and mellow milky aroma instantly permeated the air. The fragrance was incredibly domineering and arrogant, rampaging wildly, and no Own could stop it. It floated joyfully out the window, all the way along, drilling straight toward the villa next door. At this time, in the garden of the villa next door, a little boy was playing with his toys. He was muttering to himself, completely absorbed. Suddenly, the little boy smelled this aroma and froze instantly. Crystal clear drool fell drip, dropped down his chin. He threw down the toys in his hands, kicked up his little feet, and sprinted into the house. Grandpa, Grandma, go look quickly. Is the neighbor making a super yummy cake? I really want to eat it. Seeing their grandson yelling like this, the two elders did not dare neglect him. They quickly told their chef to bring out all the cakes and pastries. After all, their precious grandson only came to visit them once a month, so naturally they had to treat him well. Soon the cakes were brought out. The little boy took a sniff, then sat his butt on the floor, kicking his legs wildly and slapping the floor with his hands, throwing a tantrum. No, I want to eat the Own from next door. The Own next door smells better. On my side, in our dining room, Nuonuo sat on her stool, impatiently opening her little cherry mouth. Nom, she took a massive bite. The little Own's eyes instantly widened. Wow, Daddy, this cake is so yummy. This was the best cake she had ever eaten. Nuonuo's little mouth chewed and chewed. It was so delicious she even wriggled her little body. Then she picked up her fork, poked a small piece of cake, brought it to my mouth and said in her milky voice, Daddy, you eat too. I looked at the little milk dumpling tenderly, bent down, and Nom ate the cake the little Own offered. Thank you, baby. It is really delicious. Hearing this, Nuonuo was absolutely thrilled. Both of her little feet hopped happily up and down, unable to hide the little joy in her heart. Daddy, the cake is too yummy, I want to eat another piece. You little glutton, you can't eat too much. We still have to eat dinner soon, I said dotingly, reaching out to gently wipe away the cake crumbs from the corner of Nuonyuo's mouth. Seeing this father and daughter being so affectionate, for a moment, Butler Ding also revealed a smile. Nuonyuo, has not Daddy usually told you that you have to learn to share? Let us go get some cake and share it with everyone. Nuonyuo nodded and skipped happily to the kitchen. Soon she came out carrying a plate of cake. Grandpa Butler, eat some cake. Butler Ding almost fainted from the cuteness of this angelic voice. He solemnly took it with both hands, his smile stretching from ear to ear. Thank you, Nuonyuo. You are welcome. Nuonyuo adorably pursed her little lips and walked toward the two nannies. This little Own was fair-skinned, tender, and sculpted like pink jade. She was so cute it melted people's hearts. Let alone sharing cake with them. She was simply a little angel. Who could possibly not love her? In the villa next door, facing their grandson throwing a tantrum on the floor, the two elders looked at each other, entirely at a loss for what to do. All right, good grandson, get up first. Subsequently, at their grandson's pleading, they stepped into the yard. Grandpa, Grandma, smell it? Does not it smell so good? The little boy tugged at the hem of their clothes, jumping up and down. The two exchanged a glance, very much wanting to deny it. But that domineering aroma forcibly drilled right into their noses. Did they really have to risk their old bones to go next door and beg for some? That would be way too embarrassing. The two of them secretly swallowed their drool in unison. With their degraded, old noses, even they could not withstand the smell, let alone a child. They wondered where the neighbors hired such a chef, and if their own family could afford to hire them. Forget it, Grandpa won't feel embarrassed for his grandson. Thinking this, he went inside, grabbed a bottle of red wine, walked to the neighbor's door, and rang the doorbell. The door opened. Seeing the two elders and own child in front of him, Butler Ding looked puzzled. The old man had no choice but to bite the bullet and speak. Hello, I am your neighbor from next door. Since we happen to be free today, we came over to pay a visit. Saying this, the old man offered the red wine forward. He truly could not bring himself to say the rest. But the little grandson did not care about any of that. Why is Grandpa talking without getting to the point? He got anxious and simply poked his head out from behind his grandpa. Your cake smells so good, can I have a piece? As soon as this was said, the old man looked incredibly awkward. The old lady's face showed an apologetic expression. Our little grandson does not know better. He was just craving the smell of your cake too much. Hearing this, Butler Ding smiled slightly. Please wait a moment, everyone. I will go speak with the homeowner. He turned and walked quickly into the house, reporting the situation at the door to me. I was stunned at first, but then could not help bursting into laughter. It is just making some cake, and it caused the neighbor's kid to actually come knocking on our door. Soon Butler Ding and I went to the door together, seeing the cake held in Butler Ding's hands. The two elders blushed a bit, looking embarrassed. Young man, my little grandson does not know any better. He is just too gluttonous. I will definitely give him a good talking to later. It is fine, it is just a child's nature. I smiled faintly. This child was about the same age as Nuonyuo. It is an age where they can't control their mouths, so naturally, I understood. The old man took the cake, thanking us repeatedly. Then, ignoring my refusals, he directly shoved the red wine into my arms. The next day, it was only 6:00 a.m., but I could not sleep anymore. Having stayed up late for a whole week, my energy was actually incredibly abundant. This definitely had to be the effect of the physique enhancer. After washing up, I went to the kitchen to make cheesecake, preparing to go out and set up the stall later. The oven was very large. Could bake 6 at a time. By the time the second batch was almost ready to come out, Butler Ding and the nannies had also started their shifts. Good morning, mister. You started making cakes so early. Is there anything you need us to do? Thought about it. Then please help me wash some fruits. After all, while the cheesecake was delicious, selling it for $50 each was honestly a bit pricey. If I decorated them with some whipped cream and fruits, I figured they would be perfect. Before long, the nannies had also prepared breakfast. Only then did I put down my work to go wake the little Own. Nuonyuo, hurry up and wake up. If you do not get up, you will be late. I called out softly, but Nuonyuo remained indifferent, sleeping soundly as usual. Hearing Daddy's voice even made her sleep more soundly. This little rascal really insists on making Daddy use his ultimate weapon. I bent down, brought my mouth close to Nuonyuo's ear, and whispered, Nuonyuo, time to wake up and eat breakfast. There are so many yummy cakes. Just as I finished speaking, I saw the little dumpling's eyelids flutter. Her tightly closed big eyes slowly opened. Cake, I wanna eat, Daddy, I wanna eat cake. I could not hold back my laughter. I reached out and pinched the little dumpling's soft, chubby cheeks. You really are a little greedy pig. After breakfast, it was time for Nuonuo to go to kindergarten. She grabbed the packaged layered cakes and started stuffing them into her little backpack. The backpack was stuffed so full and bulging that the zipper would not close. In the end, Nuonuo took out her textbooks and finally managed to barely squeeze 2 cakes inside. Her motto was basically, studying is optional, but eating is mandatory. Watching from the side, I shook my head repeatedly, telling the little Own to hold her books properly. Whatever. If she can study, she will study. If she can't study, then she should just eat more. Either her brain or her body has to grow, right? At 8:30 am, I drove the food cart all the way toward Shishir Mountain, approaching the location looking from afar. That mountain looked like a half-asleep winter melon, squatting low and stout there, completely lacking any imposing majesty. The security grandpa at the gate, however, was quite leisurely. He sat comfortably inside the booth, his phone volume turned all the way up, blaring the babbling sounds of a traditional opera. I found a somewhat conspicuous spot and parked. I opened the awning and wrote the flavors and prices on the small whiteboard. 20 minutes passed. Looking at the completely deserted scenic area, I fell into deep thought. I brought over 40 layered cakes with me. My God, can I even sell these? There is not even a shadow of a person here. I had expected business here to be a bit quiet, but I did not expect it to be this dismal. No wonder in such a large scenic area, there was not a single street vendor to be found. So annoying, I did not expect to fall into the system's trap after all. Left with no choice, I had to bring out the megaphone I had not used in a long time and recorded a couple of lines. Cake, strawberry cake, kiwi cake, delicious cake. The security grandpa, intoxicated in his opera world, had his mood ruined by this hawking sound. When did a person show up here actually trying to set up a stall? And that megaphone is so damn loud. Is he deliberately trying to annoy me? With a harumph, he pushed open the booth door and walked up to me. Young man, selling cakes, are you? There are barely any shadows in this scenic area. Where is the business going to come from? Hurry up, pack your things and leave. Do not waste your energy here. To be honest, when the security grandpa came to the stall and saw it was a young man about his son's age, a sense of pity had briefly surged within him. Grandpa, would you like a cake? They are incredibly delicious. I completely ignored the grandpa's advice and started enthusiastically pitching my goods. After all, it was not like I chose this place. Good heavens, $50 for a cake. When the grandpa saw the price on the whiteboard, he was so shocked his voice trembled. In such a remote place, you selling cakes his own thing, but $50 for own. His monthly salary was only $3,000. Would not buying own cake cost him half a day's wages? The grandpa hurriedly waved his hands. Not buying, not buying. I am old, I do not like sweets, but his eyes remained locked tightly onto the cakes. Grandpa, do you want to try a little bit? Taste first, buy later. Seeing the grandpa's head looking like it wanted to plunge right into the cake, I could not help but find it funny, and quickly took out a strawberry cake. The grandpa, who had just sworn up and down that he did not like sweets, instantly took the cake and shoved it into his mouth. The grandpa chewed the cake carefully. The wrinkles on his face smoothed out as a satisfied smile emerged. Delicious, very delicious. He never expected this strawberry cake to be even better than he imagined. Not only was the sweetness of the cream perfect and silky smooth, but the cake sponge was also fragrant, soft, and sweet, perfectly neutralizing the richness of the cream. Who said old people can't eat cake? It is when you get older that you should eat cake. Watching a broad, unrestrained smile spread across the grandpa's face, I asked, Grandpa, do you want a portion? All right, give me a piece of the strawberry own. Having eaten some sweets, the grandpa was in a great mood. Without the slightest hesitation, he pulled out his phone and paid $50. At that moment, Wu Shuang, who had made plans with her best friend, came together to climb Shishir Mountain. They actually sell cakes here. Looking at the enticing cakes, their eyes went completely blank. Go. The two of them very unpromisingly swallowed their drool in secret. These cakes are so cute. Boss, give me own of each of these 2 flavors. Wu Shuang could not hold back and spoke up first. Hearing this, the smile on my face grew even wider. Coming right up, 2 pieces, $100. It had been 2 hours and the task progress had finally jumped to 5 out of 800. This is way too difficult. After Wu Shuang and her best friend finished paying, they exchanged a glance. Honestly, they were feeling a tiny bit of regret. Did not we come here to climb a free mountain? How did we just painfully lose $100 in a flash? Wu Shuang and her best friend decided to each take own flavor and swap them to satisfy their cravings. They put the remaining parts into their bags, planning to eat them when they reached the mountaintop. With just own taste, their eyes instantly burst with light. This is way too delicious, is not it? I have never had a cake this delicious before. Best friend, just as she was preparing to taste the strawberry cake in Wu Shuang's hand, a chaotic clamor of screeching suddenly erupted. Following that, several monkeys burst out from the dense woods. An unimaginable scene unfolded. I went to the mountain scenic area to set up a stall and sell cakes, but unexpectedly drew a siege of monkeys. Wu Shuang widened her eyes, completely bewildered and shocked. What the heck? Just eating a pastry actually drew a crowd of monkeys to watch. In practically the blink of an eye, the monkeys had leaped and scurried to a spot not far from the two of them. Then, they stared eagerly at the girls. The two girls' faces instantly stiffened. They had long heard about the temperament of the monkeys in this scenic area. They knew that generally, if you did not bring food, there would not be any problems. But just now, seeing cakes for sale, they had completely forgotten about this. If it were just small bread rolls or sausages, they would have just given them up. But such incredibly delicious cakes, they could not even bear to part with them themselves. Seeing the situation turning sour, her best friend spotted a branch on the ground. She swiftly bent down, picked it up, and gripped it in her hand just in case. Shoo, shoo, go away. Two of the monkeys were somewhat sensible, and obediently squatted in place. Although their gazes were still greedy, at least they did not dare to jump over and snatch the food. But the remaining two reckless young monkeys, greedy-eyed and drooling, actually took a step forward instead. Not only were they unafraid, they were incredibly arrogant. They bared their teeth, opened their mouths wide, and let out low, threatening growls from their throats. 2 minutes later, one of the monkeys seemed unable to wait any longer. Spotting that Wu Shuang had no weapon in her hands, it pushed off hard with its hind legs, leaped into the air, and charged forward rapidly. The next second, the strawberry cake in Wu Shuang's hand vanished without a trace. Ah! A piercing, explosive scream instantly erupted in the mountains. My cake, my strawberry cake. The monkeys, seeing one of their own succeed, were wildly excited. The morale of their little squad instantly skyrocketed. They pounced and jumped, snatching Wu Shuang's bag, and successfully fished out the other kiwi cake. My god, you damn wild monkeys. I do not even know what this kiwi cake tastes like yet. Stop it right now. But how could the monkeys possibly listen to her, having secured the goods? They vanished without a trace. Fuming with anger, the two girls posted online, furiously complaining. The wild monkeys at Shishir Mountain snatched away all the super invincibly delicious little cakes I bought. I am breaking down. I am truly having a complete mental breakdown. After such a commotion, the two girls had absolutely no mood left to continue touring. They pulled out their phones, opened the camera facing themselves, fixed their hair, and touched up their makeup. Only then did they head down the mountain, planning to buy 2 more portions. After buying the cakes, Wu Shuang and her best friend went straight home. Sitting on the sofa, she took out her phone. As soon as she unlocked the screen, she discovered a ton of comments under the video she had posted earlier. Shishir Mountain, oh, I have been there. Those monkeys are simply naughty beyond belief. They completely disrespect the tourists. They even stole my spicy gluten strips Latiao. Sigh, the danger level of wild animals is actually quite high. The monkeys at Mount Amei are even worse. Sis, what kind of little cake were you talking about? Is it good? For a moment, netizens with similar experiences shared a bitter hatred of a common enemy, unleashing a torrent of curses at the monkeys. There were also comments with skewed focuses, asking her exactly what kind of cake it was. Meanwhile, I was lying flat, playing on my phone and scrolling through short videos. To be honest, thinking back to being chased all over the street by those foodies, now that business had suddenly turned bleak, I was actually a bit unused to it. After another while, the loud megaphone hawking attracted a few young people who came to climb the mountain. Seeing the price of the cake, a look of hesitation appeared on their faces. But after tasting a sample, the sweet, fragrant flavor instantly conquered their taste buds. So, they each bought a cake and headed up the mountain. These young people laughed and chatted along the way, completely unaware that on the inevitable mountain path ahead, a group of monkeys was quietly lying in ambush. Do not let the fact that monkeys are not fully evolved fool you. They profoundly understand the art of game theory. Just earlier, over a few pieces of cake, they had fought fiercely, refusing to yield to own another. But now, in order to snatch more cake, they quickly united once again, preparing to ambush these upright walking apes. 2 minutes later, in the quiet mountains, A fierce battle between humans and monkeys suddenly erupted. Faced with such rare, heaven-sent little cakes, even the usually most docile and adorable little monkey in the troop transformed from a good baby into a hooligan. Snatching cakes means no holding back. Born as a monkey, Owen must risk it all for the things they love at least once. When I woke up on Wednesday morning, I saw a dazzling flash of white light streak across the sky outside the window, immediately followed by a rumbling clap of thunder. Bean-sized raindrops started smashing down with a pitter-patter. I checked the weather forecast. This rain was going to last for 2 whole days. Yesterday, even on a perfectly sunny day, I did not sell much. On a rainy day, the scenic area would definitely have even fewer people, so I might as well just take 2 days off. The monkeys, having rested for an entire night, were starting to get restless at this moment, not tasting a cake for a full 17 hours. Enduring it until now had already exhausted their life's patience. Own by own, they craned their necks, gazing toward the foot of the mountain, waiting for today's delicious little cakes. Half an hour later, the eagerly waiting monkeys had drool hanging from their mouths. At this time, the rain was pouring down. The monkeys began to cry in disappointment, crying louder and louder. It was already impossible to tell whether it was rain or tears blurring their vision. The gatekeeping grandpa heard the noise, discovered this scene, and was instantly shocked. What a bunch of crybabies. They evolved just right. They do not have to go to work, and they do not end up in a cooking pot. The administrators of the scenic area also noticed this scene, so they took out their phones, recorded it, and quickly shared it online. What happened? The monkeys collectively got emo. I am not seeing things, right? The monkeys are crying. Did they fail in a battle for the Monkey King title? They probably went through a breakup, desiring something but being unable to get it. That is what happens. Thinking back to when the weather was just as awful. On a rainy day exactly like this, my confession of love was rejected. Some netizens instantly felt deeply empathetic. This is pretty interesting. Where is this place? I want to go check it out. This scene instantly sparked the curiosity of many netizens, who outright declared they would go investigate as soon as the weather cleared up. When I closed up the stall yesterday, there were still some unsold cakes left, and I could not bear to waste them. I had the butler send a few to the neighbors next door, and also let the staff each take a few home. The remaining cakes were given to Nuonuo. Nuonuo said she would take them to eat at kindergarten. With such heavy rain pouring down, there were not any entertainment activities to do anyway. So after dropping off the kid, I headed straight home and lay on the sofa, playing video games. At 10:00 a.m., in the senior class of Four Seasons Flower Kindergarten, the teacher handed out little cookies to every child. For a moment, the classroom was buzzing with cheerful, noisy chatter. Nuonuo did not eat the cookies. Instead, she lowered her little head and reached her chubby little hands into her backpack. This simple, casual action caused the other children to turn their heads and look, before Nuonuo could even pull out the strawberry cream cake. This group of little tykes swiftly surrounded her completely. Big boss, let me have a bite of cake, please. I will give you my most favorite building blocks to play with. Boss Nuonuo, this yogurt of mine is super yummy, you should try it. I will let you play with my Barbie doll too. After the kids tasted a little bit of her cake yesterday, they spontaneously started calling Nuonuo Big Boss. That little cake was simply too delicious. It was way better than any kind of cake their mommies and daddies bought outside. Nuonuo had never been a stingy child. Seeing everyone sharing with her, she also generously shared some cake with the other children. Yummy, so yummy. Little heads crowded around Nuonuo's desk. You take a spoonful, I take a bite, cheeks bulging, chewing and munching, eating with sheer delight. Yummy, right? My daddy made this. Nuonuo lifted her chin, her slightly pouting little mouth revealing a hint of pride. Wow, Nuonuo, you are so lucky to have cake to eat every day. If only I had a daddy like that, how great would that be? Wah, I also really want a daddy who is handsome and knows how to make cakes. At 4:00 p.m., due to the heavy rain, the kindergarten contacted parents and decided to dismiss school early. Parents could come pick up their children to go home at any time. I was free anyway, so naturally I went over right away. Arriving at the senior class, I saw from afar that Nuonuo, wearing her little backpack, was eagerly looking out from the hallway. Daddy, the little milk dumpling's crisp, tender voice called out, carrying a heart full of joy. This shout caused all the surrounding children to crowd over too. Own by own, in their milky voices, they followed suit and called out, God daddy, God daddy. I was instantly speechless. What on earth was going on? This group of little tykes calling out was like the Calabash brothers calling their grandpa, to inexplicably become the godfather to dozens of kids. Who would not be bewildered by that? A couple of days ago, I ran into an old man trying to claim me as a son. Today, a whole group is trying to claim me as their dad. Are you kidding me? What is going on here? You little ones should not call me that randomly. Careful, or your real daddies will find out. Hee, Nuonuo shared her cake with us, so she is our boss. Her daddy is naturally our daddy too. Yeah, the cake Daddy Sue makes is simply too delicious. My eyelids twitched as I listened. Good heavens, these little toddlers were actually quite hilarious, selling out their own dads just for a piece of cake. Truly worthy of being little kids. God Daddy, will we have cake to eat tomorrow? A little chubby boy patted his small belly and asked with full anticipation, a bit of air leaking through his teeth as he spoke. I deliberately teased him, you little rascal, you are already missing a tooth, and you still want to eat sweets, do you not want your teeth anymore? Little Chubby got anxious, his chubby, fleshy face instantly wrinkling up like a steamed bun. Did that mean he would never get to eat such a delicious cake again? Just thinking about it made him want to cry. Oh, do not cry, I will make a little bit for you guys tomorrow. Since the kids were being such great supporters and all playing with Nuonuo. As a dad, I definitely could not be a party pooper. Wow, thank you, God Daddy, long live God Daddy. Yay, we get to eat cake again tomorrow. The children danced with joy, waving their arms and legs, thinking to themselves that they definitely had not chosen the wrong big boss. Hearing them call me that made me sweat a little. Shoo, you little ones, stop shouting nonsense. Careful, or your daddies will show up. On Friday morning, I woke up and checked the weather forecast. After 2 consecutive days of rain, we finally got a sunny day. Besides the cakes I made last time, what else should I make to sell today? Let us make cream puffs. Cream puffs are small, delicious, and simple to make. As long as you prepare the choux pastry batter and the cream filling, you are good to go. Packing 10 per box and selling them for $50 is considered very reasonable. I went to the kitchen and swiftly started working. Not long after, I opened the oven, and the smell of pastry drifted out, carrying its unique wheat fragrance. The time quickly reached 7:30 am. After loading the cakes and cream puffs onto the food cart, it was time to take the little Owen to school. Before leaving, I specifically placed 2 large boxes of cream puffs in Nuonuo's arms. Watching the little girl skip happily into the kindergarten, I finally set off for Shisher Mountain Scenic Area. Over the past 2 days, the video of the monkeys crying mournfully in the rain had spread rapidly online and actually went slightly viral. Who would have thought that crying monkeys would attract so much attention? Such massive, heaven-sent traffic absolutely had to be seized, since everyone loves watching monkeys. Just aiming the camera straight at them is all it takes. The Scenic Area Administration also actively collaborated with nearby schools, waiving all ticket fees, mainly relying on these groups of students to bring popularity and boost the trending heat of the scenic area. At this moment, a few little kids on a field trip were attracted by the sound of a megaphone broadcasting nearby and started getting distracted. Did you hear that? There is someone selling cream puffs and cakes up ahead. Yes, I heard it, and there is strawberry flavor too. I love that. Hee. Anyway, our parents gave us some money for this field trip. As soon as the teacher finishes talking, I'm going to go buy some. The noisy commotion forced the homeroom teacher to pause. Students, listen carefully to what the teacher has to say first. You can go buy things on your own later. After all, it was a field trip, not like having so many restrictions during class at school. The teacher also could not bear to be harsh on this group of excited children. Then, she gave a few instructions about paying attention to safety. Do you all understand? Understood, as the loud chorus of replies fell. The children dashed toward the small stall, each faster than the last. Whoosh, the Boy Scouts have arrived. Sitting inside the food cart, it was truly my first time experiencing the sheer enthusiasm of elementary school students. Good heavens, running and shouting like monkeys descending the mountain. In the blink of an eye, my stall was surrounded so tightly not even a drop of water could leak through. It was simply too lively. Cream puffs, kiwi cakes, strawberry cakes. These are all $50 a portion. I stood up and introduced them own by own, taking the opportunity to observe the reactions of this group of elementary schoolers. Would $50 a portion be too expensive for them? Did they really have that much pocket money? Upon hearing this, the elementary schoolers' eyes lit up. $50 is not a lot. It is within budget. Since my parents gave me money for the field trip, of course I have to buy stuff. It is so rare for me to have control over the finances. I definitely have to indulge myself and buy more. Boss, give me 2 boxes of cream puffs. Handsome boss, I want 2 strawberry ones. Pack mine first. Seeing this group of kids acting like a flock of ducks, quacking and clamoring to buy. I was internally shocked. Wow, it seems I really underestimated these little bros and little sisses. They are all quite rich. What kind of families do they come from, buying $50 pastries without blinking? Speaking of which, should not I be giving Nuonuo a bit more pocket money too? Before I could even finish packing the cakes, the elementary schoolers all synchronized in raising their smartwatch phones. They paid with absolute slickness, very nice, giving off total big boss vibes. The little girl who got her cream puffs first smelled the rich milky aroma coming from the box. Taking a bite, the outer pastry was incredibly flaky and crispy. It was so delicious the little girl started shaking her head and swaying happily. Looking at that expression, who would not be mesmerized? Ah, handsome boss, I want 2 boxes of cream puffs too. The children from the other 4 buses also swarmed over, chirping and chattering non-stop the entire way. I bet even a duck farm would not be this loud. I was surrounded by 360 degrees of noise with no dead angles. My head was buzzing, feeling like it was splitting in two. But why did it also feel kind of awesome? The elementary schoolers in the back were pushing and shoving each other, cutting in line, fighting for spots, their faces red with argument, almost breaking into a fight. Hey, stop fighting, everyone line up properly. I will only sell to you if you line up, otherwise no one gets to eat. Left with no choice, I had to speak up and call for a halt. If these little brats lifted my food cart away, that'd be own thing. But if they beat each other black and blue over a few small cakes, that would be bad. As the god in charge of pastries at the scenic area entrance, the moment these words fell, this group of kids found it very effective, and obediently started lining up. A few teachers also came over to maintain order. Logically speaking, during outdoor activities, what students want to buy is their own freedom. But as teachers, they still had to keep an eye out. If this many little ones ate something unsanitary, how could they possibly handle the consequences? The teachers leaned in close to my food cart and took a look. The prep counter was clean and hygienic. Every corner was wiped spotless, and the prices were fairly reasonable. The visual appeal of all the different varieties of cakes was also top-notch. Their anxious hearts finally settled down. The elementary schoolers who managed to buy the cakes all lowered their heads and took massive bites. They were so eager and messy that a ring of stark white cream smeared around their mouths. Each of their eyes sparkled with brilliant, bling-bling light. They say you should not fear own person tempting you, but you should fear a whole group tempting you. The teachers were finding it a bit hard to resist. They exchanged glances and moved to the side. There are always a few clever little rascals who keenly pick up on subtle clues. Lou, a little girl, opened her box of cream puffs, pushed it forward with a whoosh, and very generously offered her teacher a treat. The teacher felt a bit awkward. After some internal struggle, she shamelessly took a cream puff. Kids really are not as reserved as adults when it comes to declining things. If she did not eat it, and the girl actually took it back, she really would not get to taste it. With own bite of this richly fragrant, flaky cream puff. The white, soft cream inside. The filling was soft, delicate, fragrant, and sweet, so delicious it left her speechless. She just did not know if the other 2 fruitcakes were as good. Anyway, she was an adult with more money and a bigger appetite. Later, when all the little ones were gone, she absolutely had to get 2 of every flavor. While I was busy scanning the elementary schoolers' smartwatches and packing cakes, I did not forget to check the task interface. Current progress, 188 out of 800. This was truly terrifying. On Tuesday, I only sold 9 portions. Today, I was going to sell out in less than half an hour. No wonder people say the easiest money to make in the world is from women and children. It truly is absolutely correct. A few minutes later, I finished packing the last 2 portions of cake. I helplessly spread my hands. Kids, I am so sorry. The cakes and cream puffs are completely sold out. I had not had high hopes for setting up the stall today, so I only prepared 200 portions according to the system's task quota. If I had known there would be so many kids, I would have prepared a few hundred more. I was too conservative, sigh. For a moment, the kids who managed to buy them ate happily, while those who missed out instantly became frantic. Wah, boss big brother, no please, I have not gotten to eat any yet. Boss, I do not care, I want to eat it. If you do not sell it to me,